told officers he was from Mexico and didn't have a valid license. He's facing 5 charges, including assault.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth sparring with members of the House Armed Services Committee today.
The biggest challenge, the biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans 2 months in, I remind you, 2 months in to a conflict.
Yeah, critics of they're critics on the House Armed Services Committee questioning the Trump administration's reasoning behind starting the war with Iran. They're concerned about how long it could last and what lasting impacts on the U.S. economy might happen. And the Federal Reserve leaving interest rates unchanged as the war with Iran has raised concerns. The Fed voting to hold the benchmark rate in a range of 3.5% to 3.75%. That's the latest news. Weather's next. So is traffic. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Brentwood, we got a crash blocking the right lane, 65 northbound near Concord Road. Laverne, an injury crash, 24 westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, boys and girls, one and all. Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Happy to have you with us on this Wednesday edition. It is April 29. Is that right? April 29th already. Almost the end of April into May before you know it. I mean, my goodness gracious. 2026 is just flying right by. We've got a lot to get into, a lot to do. Hey, Jackson, would you check everything to make sure that everything as it should be? I seem very loud to myself in here, and I don't know why that would be because everything else.
You sound fine on the air there, Brother Murphy.
Why, thank you. Ken Weaver's got my back. Weaver, Brother Weaver in News Closet B, gathering headlines, delivering them twice an hour when it breaks. What's going on?
How about you boys?
I'm doing good, man.
I'm doing good. I just had my bologna sandwich.
Oh.
I think I'm going to have another one for dinner tonight.
Man, let me tell you. Are you slicing that yourself, or is that pre-sliced?
No, this is pre-sliced, but they're big old thick Fat slices.
What do you? We used to do. What is it? Gurney. Good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good bologna. I can't remember. It was GUAR something or another. That's what my grandma used to buy all the time. I mean, we didn't buy that fancy Oscar Mayer type stuff.
No, man.
This was Bilo bologna, basically, is what we would call it.
Yes,
Bilo bologna.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, I'm bringing you some Schaefer's bologna, and you will be knocked out about it.
Boy, we're going to have fun with that.
I suggest that my headphones sound a little different because of this fetching hat that I'm wearing.
No, yeah, I got one of those, too. I appreciate you bringing me that by,
Oh,
Brother
yeah,
Murphy.
it was my pleasure. I had to get you that hat as quickly as possible because there were some eyeballs on that hat, and I felt like eyeballs might become sticky fingers if we allowed that to
Brother
happen.
Jackson was going to take it.
He was. That is an accurate description of what I believed would have gone down had I not gotten that hat to you. Now that is not to say that Jackson isn't hat deserving. He's hat worthy.
Yes, sir.
But sometimes Ken Weaver gets first to dibs, and you did today.
Thank you, sir.
That's directly from Timberland Cabinets. I went out and visited those folks out in Columbia, Tennessee. Are y'all Columbia or Mount? I think they're Columbia. I think it's going to be Columbia. They're not Mount Pleasant. It's Columbia. Timberland Cabinet Company. Man, I toured their facilities, Ken.
Yeah.
Man, it's huge out there, and they got it going on. We're going to talk more about those guys.
Big old factory?
Oh, huge factory. I mean, huge. Like, so huge. I was like, man, we need to take all of these cabinets out of here and get some go-karts. You know what I'm saying? It was like, but they had ramps going up and down. Oh, man. And, there's a lot that goes into making good custom cabinets.
I bet
a
you
lot.
it smelled good in there.
It
too.
did. On the wood side of things, it smelled just awesome. Smelled like wood.
Yes.
And on the paint side of things, I love that smell. Fresh coats of paint going on those cabinets, and the sanding side. Oh, it was absolutely fabulous. It was a great visit. Great visit. So thanks to those guys for giving us these fetching lids.
Yes, sir.
Jackson, you didn't get one. Sorry to say. Don't give me the eye. Jackson just gave me the side eye.
Dang.
I just got the side eye from young Jackson. That's no
It's
good.
better than waving at you.
Well, that's fair. That's true. Jackson is in the control area, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. He just gave Ryan the summarily boot, getting his ducks in order and everything in a fashion befitting young Jackson. What? Why are you shaking your head? Your ducks are not in order?
No, I didn't give Ryan the boot. He just had to.
Oh, had to step away for a moment?
Yes.
Is he doing a good job in there, Jackson,
Yeah.
while he's away? You going to give him the thumbs up there? He's only being trained, Jackson, by the best in the business.
Ken, you training him?
No, sir.
I was going to say Bell K, but. How's it going, Jackson?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. I gave Ken the other hat.
It's okay.
Doesn't sound like you think it's okay.
No, I got a fresh lid last week.
You did. That is.
A lid.
And you got the Rackley Roofing Tennessee cap.
I know. I love
You
that.
got one of
hat.
those. So, and you got yourself a nice Hall of Fame cap too. So
I wore
all right.
that Rackley roofing cap to the veterinarian this morning.
Did you now?
Yeah, we had to take little Fritz in and get his haircut, his annual haircut.
What?
And I was sporting the Rackley roofing hat.
Well, that's a nice hat to sport.
It is. It's a real nice hat.
It's a good cap. Little Fritz goes to the beauty shop.
Yeah, he goes. He goes over to our veterinarian. I cannot remember the name of the place, but they're real good, and they've got a groomer, and she's real good. I mean, this lady is booked out for months, Brother Murphy.
Oh wow!
And she had an opening, and we slid little Fritz right in there.
You go ahead and get those nails trimmed when you get the haircut.
Yeah, he gets his nails done up. I actually had a wiener dog named Boo that did his own nails. And in fact, I got complimented by the veterinarian who said, "You sure are doing a good job on his nails." And I said, "It's not me." And he said, "Well, whoever does them." And I said, "It's him."
What?
My dog, Bentley Boo, would sit and chew his nails, Matt. And I mean, they were perfect.
Huh. Well, how about that? Never thought about that, but I guess some dog. I mean,
Fritz doesn't do that. He likes getting pampered.
well, we like Fritz for a reason. I mean, that makes sense. I think Fritz has the life.
Oh, he does.
I think if I ever wanted to come back as a wiener dog, I would want to be a Weaver wiener dog.
Oh yes, you will get you'll get the special treatment, special cratchins.
Cratchins?
Yeah, that's my term for scratchings. Whenever I'm talking to a wiener dog.
You're going to give him a little cratchins?
Yeah, little cratchins.
Does Fritz get a little something from Ken Weaver if he begs for it?
No, but if he does his business, like if he takes care of both tasks on our routings, he gets what I call a poop treat.
Oh, a poop treat.
Yeah, and if you say poop treat, he immediately jumps up and he thinks he's going to get something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We treat for those if you do your business outside, you get a snack.
Yes, sir.
Get yourself a nice little snack. And I tell Ms. Beasley and Munson to go to the snack station. Y'all need to go to the snack station, and they go to the snack station, and they await their delicious snack. We have Crunchos for them.
Little Crunchos.
Every so often, Ken, they'll get a little piece of bologna.
Oh,
and I'm just telling you.
We can't do that with Fritz, man, because then he'll be going outside a lot.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You mess with the wiener dog's diet, Brother Murphy, and it's bad.
Tender belly.
Yeah,
a little tender. I get it. I feel the same way about Murphy's diet too. Sometimes, you know. Oh, I felt that way all week. By the way, thank you, all of you that are concerned, because I was like down in the dumps yesterday. I'm feeling better. I'm
good.
Right as rain. Bell K asked me in the hallway. He said, "Hey, Murph, you back to 100%?" I said, Bell, I'm 52 years old. What does that mean? I don't think I've been 100% since I was 38. But I'm as good as I think Bell's response was, well, I feel like you're 100% if you call people jackasses on the radio. I was like, well, in that case, I'm 100%, baby, because there's a lot of them to call out today, to include Mayor Freddie O'Connell. So I had this clip racked yesterday from Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, who is begging the state for cash. And it feels like Freddie O'Connell needs some cash too, but he also recognizes that the city has become unaffordable. And my goodness gracious, I think, it reminds me of a Dwight Yoakam song. It reminds me of a Dwight Yoakam song that I think if you think real hard, I think you'll figure out just who's to blame, Freddie. If you think what was that Dwight Yoakam song? Y'all will know it. You're the One is the name of the song.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great song. How does it feel now that you're the one it's happening to?
Yeah.
And there's a line in that song that says, if you think real hard, I think you'll find just who's to blame. And, of course, it's yourself that's to blame. Well, Freddie, if you think really, really hard about the affordability of the city of Nashville and Davidson County, generally speaking, I think maybe you'll figure out who's to blame on the lack of affordability. And, oh, by the way, it's not the residents and it's not the citizens and it's not the businesses. It's you. It's government that has made this city less affordable. And sadly, you don't see the error of your ways and you're not willing to say, you know what, we messed up, we screwed up, and we got to roll back some of these property tax increases. We'll talk about that on the show today. I think the Redheaded Stranger is going to join us at some point in the 3:30-ish zone to discuss the one-year anniversary of being down there protesting the prospect of increased property taxes. It was a year ago on this day, or on this occasion, I don't know if it was the exact day, that we were down at the city library, Ken. Outside of the city library.
It's already been a year.
Yeah, protesting the prospect of property tax increases. And sadly, there were a lot of people down there protesting. The Redheaded Stranger was down there. Ben Cunningham of the Nashville, what's his organization? The Taxed Enough Already, the Tea Party organization, I guess it was. Ben Cunningham was down there with his org. Jason Weekly was with the Nashville GOP, and yours truly, Matt Murphy. And we all collected folks outside of the public library where Freddie O'Connell was slated to give his State of the Metro address, protesting the prospect of an increase in property taxes, saying, if you do this, you're going to see businesses close down. If you do this, people are going to leave the city. If you do this, the city's not going to be as affordable as it could be for the least of these, quote unquote. We talk about, we want housing to be more affordable, and then you do exactly the opposite, and then you're shocked and amazed that housing's not more affordable. Well, I wonder what in the world you could have done to solve that problem. maybe not go up on property taxes, which is by extension going to go up on rental properties, which is going to impact those who can least afford to pay it. Obviously, that's how taxes work. Oh, look, 4791 says no, it's not that. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is, 8717. Said, I met Matt Murphy a year ago at the library. How about that? Well, it was good to meet you, 8717. And several of you are telling me that it's Gwaltney. And Ken Weaver?
Yes, sir.
I would encourage you to get yourself a delicious package of Gwaltney bologna.
Okay.
G-U or G-W-A-L-T?
Oh, I'll figure it out.
G-U-A-L-T.
Is it G-U or G-W?
It's G-U. I grew up eating that crap.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second, Ryan. Let's not call it crap.
I don't eat swine of any kind. To me, it's crap.
That's just more for us.
Yeah, what Ken said. Just more for us.
Unless they're a sponsor, in which case...
All of a sudden, Ryan figured out he
Ryan.
realized where he was.
Ryan, you're going to do really well in
Yes,
this
he
business.
is.
I hate that crap, unless they're a sponsor, in which case
However,
the fine folks at Gwaltney would like to remind you that there's many items available for purchase in the deli section of your local grocery. And no, I love it. I was going to say you'd be hard-pressed to convince me that it's quote-unquote pork, but,
well,
just
it says it is.
it's just kind of whatever.
All I know is it's good.
It is good. It tastes delicious. Put some. Ken, you said something that causes me some concern.
Oh, no, what?
You said you put mayo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just mayo?
Yes, and cheese.
Okay.
Now, I'll put Miracle Whip on it, too, if I don't have any mayo.
Well, Miracle Whip is...
But I'm a mayonnaise man.
I like mayo, and I like a good mayo-mustard combo myself. I'm going to go mayo on one side, mustard on the other side.
Okay, I'll check that out.
But my grandma, God rest her soul, would have a Cool Whip container.
Yeah?
And she would have some pre-made mayo and mustard in there. Oh my goodness gracious! She'd throw some JFG in there, and then some whatever the hell kind of mustard that she bought from Bilo, and she would mix that stuff up. So you just slather that on both sides of the bread, and you roll with it. 2 pieces of bologna, no cheese. Thank you. I'm done. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Let's make it happen. I'm hungry.
I am, too.
Y'all bring by some pork, and we won't give any to Ryan.
And I won't shed a tear.
When'd you stop eating pork?
About 6 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. More for us. That's good. What, Yardbird? You good with Yardbird?
Mean chicken?
Yeah, I mean chicken. Yardbird.
Yardbird.
Yeah.
Mean chicken.
Yes, I do. Same
Wrong with
thing.
that?
So I didn't say there's anything wrong with it. I'm just asking.
It's the universal bread for...
I knew a guy that wouldn't eat, he called him Yardbird, wouldn't eat chicken for some reason. Eat the hell out of pork and would eat every other kind of meat imaginable, but wouldn't eat chicken. I was like, that's where you draw the line? I was very confused.
Needs his head examined.
I mean, I get the pork thing. I mean, I understand it's not for everybody, but it's for me, boy.
Yes, sir.
If it's free, I'll take 3, especially if it's bacon. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be involved in the frivolity. There's lots to get into. I have a thought about the James Comey. We talked about this a little late in the show yesterday, and I have some more thoughts on it today. I feel a little more inspired to share with you my thoughts on it. And we just recorded a podcast that will drop later on this weekend. And in that podcast, I discussed this with the idea in mind that we need to focus on the important things and eliminate from our field of vision the unimportant things. And friends, I do not believe in a government that should be big enough that can prosecute individuals in this manner. And, oh, by the way, I think you're taking away from the real and necessary prosecutions of individuals involved in the Department of Justice, in the Biden administration, and, yes, even the underlings of James Comey or perhaps James Comey himself. You're taking away from those efforts by doing this. Because let me tell you something. As initially satisfying as it might be for you, there's no satisfaction in this case. Number one, the government should not be in the process of regulating or determining what speech is permissible and what speech is not. Number two, there was no, in my opinion, direct threat. Number three, you're going to lose this case, and you turn James Comey into a martyr, and you're spending a lot of money that we don't have to spend when you ought to be spending that money on cases that you have an opportunity to win that are far more important in terms of furthering national security or preventing the Department of Justice, generally speaking, and the FBI more specifically, to be weaponized as a result of some of their actions. We shall discuss all of it coming up in mere moments. 615-737-9986. It's 22 past on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Efficient Heating and Cooling. I want to talk with you for a moment about my man, Jeff Eddy, and what he can do for you. So you've heard me telling you that you need to maintenance that AC, and maybe you've not done it just yet. But do you know it's just April? That means May and June and July and August and September and, yes, October. You'll be running that AC unit, and if it's not running as it should, it could be costing you a tremendous amount of money in terms of energy bills, and it could cost you even more in terms of early replacement. You don't want to do that. You want to get Jeff Eddy out to your home. He will maintenance that unit for less than $125 wherever they go. That's their max number, $125. Oftentimes it's much less than that. Plus, you get the maintenance guarantee over the life of the summer, meaning if they have to come back to maintenance for any reason after they maintenance for any service call, they're going to waive the service call fee on that return visit. And they can let you know what's going on with it. And if it's time, it's time. And they're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. When it comes time, they can recommend you the right unit for you and your family. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or online at efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net.
All right, National Weather Service confirms at least one tornado touched down in Middle Tennessee early yesterday morning. We've got that and more for you coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There's Ken Weaver. He's over in News Closet B. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Ryan at the controls, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. He is in training. Young Jackson is his trainor. He is the trainee. Jackson is, generally speaking, doing a lot of nothing today, as he did yesterday, and you did it very well, Jackson. Congratulations on your ability to do nothing for yesterday afternoon for the better part of the show.
Been practicing my whole life.
You're just funny. You're just a,
I've been called by the older ladies at my church. I've been called a hoot and a half.
A hoot and a half. Well,
I love that.
I think you're a full two hoots myself.
I try.
Well, you do a good job.
But, the gravitas takes us down to a hoot and a half.
How are you? Where are you on bologna?
It's a fine deli meat. I don't want to have it for Christmas dinner or nothing like it seems like y'all two want to. But it's a fine deli meat.
Oh, it's not Christmas until she pulls out the bologna.
Oh, man. My Christmas wish is a pack of prepackaged bologna.
This reminds me of a time in my childhood where have y'all ever had souse meat?
Souse meat.
Yeah, or olive loaf. That's another one.
Oh yeah, I freaking love olive loaf.
You love olive loaf,
Yes,
do
sir.
you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know that I've had. Maybe I'd like olive loaf in my adulthood in a way that I did not care for it in my childhood. Ken, I'll suspend comment until I have it again. And I try to. Y'all know me. I don't make a matter of taste a matter of fact.
That's right.
If you like olive loaf, more power to you. If you like souse meat, good for you. What about Scrapple? You ever had Scrapple?
Never heard of Scrapple.
Scrapple. It's not Scrabble. That's a popular board game.
Snapple?
Snapple is a delicious fruity drink. Scrapple.
Crapple?
Now, Crapple is what these nasties over on the sports station do in that bathroom all the time and stink up the hallway.
Didn't you do that?
Yeah, what he said. We will discuss Scrapple coming up in a moment.
Right.
Right now, I just want to get this out of the way because I think it's funny. Gary's in Nashville. Hey, Gary, how are you? Yeah, hit him up there. There you go, Ryan. Hey, Gary, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this is a little strange. I'm a man married for 46 years, very heterosexual, and I need a wiener. I mean, a male wiener. Male wiener dog. Male wiener dog. I've got two females that are looking for a date.
What?
And I cannot find a male wiener anywhere.
Well, unfortunately, Fritz has a coach, but no players.
Oh, shucks.
That's unfortunate.
Well, hey,
for Fritz.
It is, because my girls are beautiful.
Are they black and tans or little reds? What are they?
I've got one that's a dapple, and I've got one that's mainly black and white.
Awesome.
She's a young one. She's stout. She's just beautiful, long-haired.
All right.
How do we so not that I want to get into the animal husbandry business, but how does that work, fellas? If there's a stud, what's the stud fee like? Is it typically like one of the babies? How does that work?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, sometimes you negotiate for one of the pups or pick of the litter. In some cases, that's for people who plan to continue breeding, and then otherwise there's just simply a stud fee and a handshake and thank you very much.
I got you. Well, Gary, if we can find you, and I know you were asking in particular to Ken poor Fritz. I feel like Fritz is the one missing out here. But if we can find you a nice wiener stud,
yes, sir,
we'll do our best to get in contact with you.
That would be amazing.
Well,
another reason I love the show right there.
Well, in all seriousness, I mean, look, you never know. I'm going to put you on hold, and get Gary's telephone number, because if somebody will hit me up,
Somebody out there is listening.
someone will hit me up on the super text line and say, "Well, I got a male wiener dog, and he's got his paperwork and blah blah blah, and oh yeah, we'd love to have da 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 da, and we can put two and two together, and before you know it, we got baby wieners running around." You like the long hairs or the short hairs?
I
Ken?
like them all.
Yeah.
I like them all.
How many wiener dogs have you had?
4. We had Bentley Boo, Lady Clotilde, and Shlomo Moshe. He was Hebrew.
Well, that's as the name might imply.
And he was a dapple. He was a little dapple wiener.
You went from a Hebrew wiener to a German wiener? Just schnitzel you got there now.
Yes, sir.
Old Fritz. Jackson says I've got to go to the news, and I think Jackson's right. It's time for the news, boys, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Severe storms early yesterday morning produced an EF1 tornado in parts of Davidson and Robertson counties. National Weather Service found snapped trees, swirl marks, damaged barns along the tornado's path. It was on the ground for about 2 minutes, reached estimated winds of 95 miles per hour. And then last night in North Texas,
some in Mineral Wells, west of Fort Worth, have no doubt they witnessed a tornado.
It got real windy. We started seeing debris, which I guess from the neighbor's house.
He and his wife stepped from the patio into their kitchen.
We had time to shut the door, and then it hit.
Damage to homes and businesses was extreme, but first responders report only 2 injuries, neither life-threatening. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
back here in Middle Tennessee, a road rage incident on 65 has landed a Robertson County man behind bars. Deputies say witnesses saw 2 cars swerving through traffic before gunfire erupted. Investigators say at least 1 bullet passed through the passenger door of one of those vehicles. 26-year-old Zachary William Collins charged with attempted second-degree homicide and aggravated assault. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Complete stop-and-go traffic eastbound 440 from 65 over to 24, and then northbound 65 up to the South Loop. And then you're coming to a complete stop if you are eastbound South Loop over to the downtown split. We've got a crash over there at the split, which is probably the reason you're backing up on the South Loop. That's going to be 40 eastbound there at exit 213A. A crash near the airport now, 40 westbound at Briley Parkway. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and it's time to talk about that health insurance of yours. Have you had an examination of your health insurance lately? And if not, why not? Why not call Shane Ring and Cover Nash and have Shane go over your health insurance to make sure that everything's on the up and up and on the A-OK? And here's a wonderful thing. If Shane looks over your insurance situation and recognizes that you're paying what you should be paying and you're getting the coverage that you deserve, he'll give you the big thumbs up as your healthcare concierge, and you'll have the peace of mind of understanding that you're getting everything out of your health insurance that you want. But more often than not, you are not getting the coverage you deserve, you're paying too much money, and you can get better through Shane Ring and Cover Nash. And that is the bottom line. He will never be there to press you to do anything that you don't need to do, but he is there to act as your healthcare concierge when it comes to those things that you need in your life. For you and your family, you deserve a telephone call, a sit down, and a visit with Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Allow him to go over your program. Plus, if you're self-employed, uninsured, or just tired of paying too much, it's time to get the government off your back and save money. Shane can save you up to 60% on your insurance coverage. All it takes is that telephone call. 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or covernash.com. That's covernash.com. All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll get back to the love of bologna. Steve is in Hendersonville, and he says he's a bologna lover. We'll do that coming up in just a moment. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show on this April 29. Thank you for being with us. Episode 1027. Our visits together, 1,027 of them now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I've loved almost every single one of them. We're on TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart. We have our own app. Obviously, we're on the radio dial at 99.7 FM. And then, of course, there's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. If you're watching on the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, give us the like, the thumbs up, the subscribe, and all of those things. We appreciate that. And you'll get to see my fetching new hat that I got from Timberland earlier today. So that's very nice, too. Also, earlier today, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, a.k.a. Feckless Freddie, delivered his State of the Metro address. And without offering you any further commentary on it, I welcome in the redheaded stranger. We call her Pamela Furr to the program to talk about what we were doing around this time last year and what Freddie had to say earlier today regarding taxation in the city of Nashville. Hey, Pamela Furr, how are you?
Hello, I'm actually quite angry. How are you?
You know, if I didn't expect as much from Feckless Freddie, I think I'd be as angry as you. I think I am as angry as you because he talks to us like we're idiots, doesn't he?
Right, like we're idiots. That's the part that makes me so mad. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I am just on fire about this thing. And when I didn't go to his State of the City address today. We went last year, as you recall.
We did.
And quite a few of us lined the streets in front of the library in Nashville to show him that we don't want this property tax hike that he's proposing because it's basically going to price us out of our homes in Davidson County, whether it's Nashville proper, whether it's Old Hickory or Hermitage or Bellevue, whatever. At Davidson County, people are going to get priced out of their homes, and businesses are going to go under because they're not going to be able to afford the yet another property tax hike. And we did 2 in 5 years. So I started seeing some of the news reporting from what he said today, and I'm just beside myself. May I tell you some of what he said?
Oh, yes, please.
Thank you. His most immediate, and I'm reading directly from Channel 4, this is a good report that they have, O'Connell's most immediate pocketbook proposal for Metro Nashville and Davidson County is a 0.5-cent cut to Nashville's local grocery tax, which he's going to include in his budget that he's going to file this week. Well, on the surface, I'm all for any time you want to cut taxes. But after you raised my property taxes so much, a 0.5 cent is going to help me had I stayed in Davidson. But those who live in Davidson County, those who live in Nashville, a 0.5 cent, when you're talking about families that probably spend anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week in groceries, like a family of 4. So let's say you're talking $1,000. You pay 4% in a grocery tax. That's what, $40? You're getting a half a cent. So now you're paying 3.5%. So you're basically saving me $5 a week. Now times 52 weeks. That's what, $260 a year.
Well, and on top of this, Pamela, to add to your anger, well, that's right, and to add to your anger and frustration, this is the same dude that obfuscated and lied to the people of Davidson County to get his damn transit tax pushed through.
Yes.
And the transit tax was a half-cent surcharge. It was a sales tax. So he was the leader of that push. He was the guy that said we have to have this transit tax in order to alleviate the congestion on city streets and all of this other crap. And he's the one that led the charge to make bus riding sexy in the city of Nashville somehow.
Right.
And it was in November of 2024 that sadly the voters were duped into voting for this stupid thing, and it took effect February 1st of 2025. So it raised the total Davidson County sales tax rate from 9.25% to 9.75%, and now he wants to reduce it again?
Right, yeah, but just on groceries, not
just
on
groceries.
Just
That's
groceries.
right, just on groceries.
So he framed the move as, quote, targeted relief for working families, single parents, seniors, and anyone stretching every dollar. He argued that feeding a family shouldn't be treated like a luxury and called the reduction a shift toward fairness, an economic breathing room for the people who make the city work. There's so many things I want to say, but I can't because we're on the radio. Also, to offset the lost revenue, O'Connell said he is instructing metro departments to tighten their budgets so the city can be a good steward of government's growth as well. He also said that the tax cut to the Choose How You Move program, he linked the tax cut to that, and he said visitors and commuters have been asked to contribute more through that program. So how insulting. Businesses are closing because they can't afford almost 50% property tax hike. Mine was more than 30%, and I got the heck out of Dodge. Like I said I would do if this happened. We warned this would happen. People lined the streets and said this would happen, and guess what? It happened. And then he just wants to give us a piddly little half-cent cut on grocery taxes. And again, we're supposed to say thank you. No, I'm not saying thank you. I'm saying find some other idiot to believe your BS, Freddie.
Well, and Pamela Furr is a perfect example, and you and I have talked about this privately and publicly. You're the perfect example of what we told him was going to happen if you raised property taxes. The people that have the ability to get the hell out of the city are going to get the hell out of the city. They're not going to continue to pay the amount of money. They're already paying exorbitant amounts of money for just about everything else within the city. You add that to the general cost of being in the city altogether, the cost of property within the city, and then you add on to that this ridiculous increase in property taxes. People that have the ability to get out are going to get out. Otherwise, there are plenty of people that don't have the ability to get out that are just suffering.
Right, that are just suffering. And then, there's another part to this, too. This was my initial reaction, and I was mad and steaming hot and said, Matt, I got to talk to you about this. Let me on the radio. But I read further down into the story and how he is proposing grants for people so that they could have child care access and early childhood support, how people can apply for grants for affordable housing and to support small business. And I'm thinking to myself, no one would need those grants, number one, if you hadn't raised the property taxes. And number two, my property taxes would be going to other people who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing to other departments or whatever to make this affordable for people. You know what I mean? I mean, it's going to other organizations. It's going to grants so somebody can survive when a property tax increase is what caused the problem in the first place.
He's calling it these you're talking about these legacy business programs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So a new legacy business program. So he kind of telegraphed that this was coming the last time he was on the show, because I'm like, the property tax increases are driving businesses, long-standing businesses, out of the city, and you're losing those mom and pops. And this was when he very callously said, well, you know, it's not my job for a business to survive or fail. If a business fails, it fails. There's plenty of other businesses out there. And people are like, what the hell is he talking about? Yeah, they're failing because of the owner's amount of property taxes that you're charging. Things like Acme Feed and Speed and Arnold's and Peg Leg Poker. And so he said at the time, he's like, well, we're thinking about, you know, creating a legacy or historic district. I'm like, oh, so you're going to pick winners and losers. Oh, that makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Right, exactly.
Well, now
we talked about that today.
Well, and now they've replaced this with this legacy business program recognizing, quote, longtime Nashville businesses and their cultural contributions and allowing them to apply for grant funding. These businesses, Mayor, do not want to be wards of the state. They don't want to depend on grants to survive. They want you to lower their property taxes so they can continue doing business and contributing to the city in the way that they have prior to the increase.
We don't want a government handout after the government just stole money from me.
Amen.
You know what I mean? I'm going to steal your money. Oh, and I'll give you some of it back. Thanks.
I mean, that
ridiculous.
Makes no sense.
No sense.
No sense.
None whatsoever.
How about just eliminate the property taxes that you just increased? How about that?
Yeah. How about that? Pull them back. Oh, and the ones that John Cooper.
Yeah. How about that? And you'll see a revitalization of business in downtown. You'll see businesses no longer complaining about the onerous tax rates they're being forced to pay and decisions that they have to make as to whether or not to pay your property taxes or to continue to employ the number of people they're employing, or worst case scenario, whether or not to shut their doors.
Exactly.
No, it's an absolute it's an absolute insult to the people of Davidson County.
It's an insult to my friends who have decided to stay. It's an insult to the businesses that I have frequented for years as a former Davidson County resident. It's an insult to them as well. And now you've got and we said this would happen. You've got surrounding counties that are now starting to feel the pressure because people are now moving in droves to other counties, and now they have to figure out how to compete with the infrastructure, not compete, that's not the word I'm looking for, but build up the infrastructure to handle the influx of people that are coming in that they weren't necessarily prepared to do. That wasn't in their 5-year plan to have Davidson County raise property taxes twice and everybody decide to move out. So you know what I mean? So now other counties are having to adjust for all of that. It's a trickle-down effect, and it's wrong. I can't find any other word.
You notice that every solution that Freddie has is a solution to a problem created by government, and the solution is more government.
More government, right? And that is not the solution.
Right.
The
problem is government's taxing business too greatly for business to continue the model that they've created. And the solution is to create like this property investment incentive, which provides small grants to help owners improve their buildings, route through government. So government takes our money, takes a cut, and then gives us a small slice back again to try to maintain being in business, to keep our heads above water. The other one is this stupid workforce advancement grant proposal. Look, I'm not against people advancing within their workplace. What I want is to create a dynamic by which businesses can pay their employees enough that they can squirrel money away. And if they want to go to school, they can go to school on their own. Why does government have to be involved offering grants through the business to provide opportunities for employees to go to school? It doesn't make any sense. Get the hell out of our way, government.
And he keeps talking about this year. The theme is we are the city of belonging. Well, guess what? By what you're doing, you're telling me I don't belong there anymore, and I moved. You're telling others they don't belong in Nashville anymore because they can't afford it, and you're the ones that caused all the problems. City of belonging, my you know what.
Well, it's because they cannot accept or admit their failures and their mistakes. And if they would, I would have a little more respect for them. But they don't. They just double down on them. You know what? We say the problem is government's too involved in our business and too involved in our lives. And their answer is, hey, guys, more government. Ugh. Sickening.
Gross.
Freddie done got a redheaded woman. Freddie done got a redheaded woman mad at him. That's
got me mad and riled up. But the time, but truthfully, the time to do something about this was last year.
Yes.
The time to do something was last year, and not enough people got involved to show him that we mean business, and so now everybody's leaving, and he's going to be left holding the bag of a whole lot of debt, and not if nobody's there, who you going to tax?
Yeah, Scott writes in it. Well, that's right. And Scott writes in and says this concept of belonging is just the latest euphemism for DEI, and he couldn't be more right. I got to run. Yeah. Pamela, thank you.
All right.
Oh, God bless you. I appreciate Pamela for the redheaded stranger. We call her 54 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Defend Systems, active shooter and physical security expertise for a dangerously developing world at Defend Systems. Defend Systems is simply the go-to source for all things safety and security when it comes to your place of business, your school, your workplace. I mean, or any place that people gather, like a church, for example. Friends, if you need security improvement consultation, they do it. If you need emergency and intruder action plans, they do it. Rapid response medical training, workplace violence prevention, they do all of these things and so much more. This is not checking a box for your business. This is truly training your staff as to what to do in the unlikely event, and we like to emphasize that because it is unlikely that you have a workplace violence situation break out. But the fact that it's unlikely does not mean that the possibility is zero, and that is the entire point. DefenseSystems.com or 615-236-6484, 236-6484 for Defense Systems.
At least one tornado confirmed early yesterday morning here in Middle Tennessee. I got that story and more coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is straight up 4 o'clock. We got much more to go. 1 hour down and 3 to go. Scott Sapicki's going to be here a day early as I am out on Friday. So we're going to pull everything back just a day early. Cameron Sexton coming up tomorrow to give us kind of a postmortem on the General Assembly, the session that was. Scott will give us an analysis on what we accomplished regarding education. That is on the way next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, the National Weather Service confirming an EF1 tornado with 95-mile-per-hour winds touched down in Davidson and Robertson counties early yesterday morning. Channel 4 talked to neighbors who are helping a couple who lost their home near the Songhouse venue in Goodlettsville.
This is months of cleanup for sure.
How are they holding up?
It's unfortunate, but they're in good spirits, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, it's very unfortunate, but they haven't had anything like this. They said, I don't know how long they've been here. I know 30 plus years, and they've never had a scare like this, let alone, a tornado come through and actually hit their property.
Yeah, that tornado there in Goodlettsville on the ground for about 2 minutes. No injuries reported there, and we're still waiting to learn whether a tornado touched down in Lawrence County early yesterday. Here in Nashville, Channel 4's Brendan Tierney says Mayor O'Connell's State of Metro address focused heavily on affordability.
In his State of Metro address, O'Connell tied his vision directly to the cost of living. He told the crowd of city leaders that people can't feel safe and create a better community if they can't afford to live here. One of the biggest proposals is cutting the grocery tax by half a cent. That would save a family of four around $72 per year.
Yeah, O'Connell also promised investments and deregulation to allow more child care to bring down costs for working families. Right now in our nation's capital, the Pentagon trying to sell a $1.5 trillion request for fiscal year 2027. Critics questioning the reason for the Iran war. And here, Jay Hurst, the comptroller for the Pentagon, asked how much the war has costed taxpayers so far.
So approximately at this day, we're spending about $25 billion on Operation Epic Fury. Most of that is munitions. There's part of that. It's obviously O&M and equipment replacement.
U.S. and Iran not close to resolving their differences that could end the war. At least I should say no closer to resolving their differences that could end the war. And the Federal Reserve leaving interest rates unchanged in a range between 3.5% and 3.25%. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Accident right lane blocked. Going to be 40 eastbound just past the eastern split, exit 213A. Over by the airport, a crash blocking the right 2 lanes. 40 westbound past Donaldson Pike. Then Talbot's Corner, a crash 65 northbound at Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 6 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock. Glad to have you with us. Hour number 2 starts right now at the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Pleased you've decided to join us. It's going to be a busy day. I believe that Representative Johnny Garrett's going to be on with us via phone to talk about his support of a possible redrawing of congressional district lines that has been floated by a number of different people, to include Senator Marsha Blackburn. This in the aftermath of the United States Supreme Court decision earlier today that indicated that Louisiana's congressional districts were drawn in a racially beneficial manner. And while the Supreme Court has said that they are not interested in getting into partisan gerrymandering issues state to state, they will get into racially gerrymandering issues, and it was considered to be racial gerrymandering in Louisiana, and you can't do that. Clearly, the state of Tennessee has been racially gerrymandered when it comes to Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee, and representation over there. So whether or not that comes to fruition, we're going to find out. We'll talk with Johnny Garrett about that coming up next hour on The Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This hour, as a way to kind of put a cap on the General Assembly for this session, and specifically to put a cap on education in the state of Tennessee, we welcome back to the show Representative Scott Sapicki, normally with us on Thursdays during the session. He was gracious enough to agree to come in on a Wednesday. We missed you. We couldn't be without you another day longer. Hello, Scott.
Well, when Matt summons you, you have to respond.
Well, I don't know what Matt you're talking about.
Well, I mean,
but sure.
You passed legislation now, so it's like a peacock. Oh, a raccoon.
You know, you can have a raccoon espresso now in our office.
I hear that.
Yeah,
I hear that.
Sure. Sapicki, before we start talking about education, you and I were just talking about a discussion that we had yesterday, and I think you heard a little bit of that discussion. Would you be open to legislation that came before you in the General Assembly regarding medical/medicinal marijuana?
As long as it's extremely tight of what it can be used for, what is the proposal of what's it going to be? Is it going to be pill form? Is it going to be ointment form? Is it going to be smoking? I wouldn't favor smoking marijuana at all, but the pill form with the high THC for seizures, for end of life with pain, things like that. I think that is a valid discussion that we probably need to have in the General Assembly. I think there's going to be tremendous hurdles to get it over, but everything on that 100% would come down to what the words say on the paper.
It's all about how you format the bill.
And making sure that going forward, you don't put things in there that make it very easy to expand in perpetuity.
I'm not asking, or I'm not trying necessarily to pit you against any other political figure in the state of Tennessee. I wouldn't do that to you. However, does it surprise you that when this question gets offered specifically to the two most prominent Republican gubernatorial candidates, I'll just put it out there that Marsha Blackburn and John Rose have both answered the question by the same guy, Chris Hand, our host from 9 to noon, asked the question, if it came before you, would you veto it? And both of them said yes. And it surprises me that they would be closed off to it in a way that it doesn't feel like many other Republicans in the General Assembly are. In other words, for the most part, what I hear is I need to see the language. It would need to be really structured. I would need to be comfortable that this is specific to valid medical use, and it doesn't open the door like some states have opened where, you know, you just go to some doc in the box and get a card and you're smoking away. I feel like most in the General Assembly would be at least open to the conversation.
To the conversation, yes. And one thing you're leaving off also is enforcement, right? You got to have very strict enforcement on it with probably felonies. That if you violate this section of code, the weight of the law is going to come down upon you. Remember this, that the way the Constitution was drawn up in the state of Tennessee is very different than federally. It's 50, 17, and 1. That's it. 50 votes in the House, 17 in the Senate, and one governor's signature or not, or a veto. And if you get a veto, it just takes 50 votes in the House and 17 votes in the Senate to overturn a veto.
It's the same simple majority.
The same hurdle.
Yeah.
Because the founding fathers of Tennessee wanted to rest the power in the General Assembly, because that is a bigger representation on a smaller scale, more intimate scale with the people of Tennessee. And I think that is a very good form of government. But when you talk about medical marijuana, you cannot argue about people in chronic pain. You cannot argue about the results with seizures. You cannot argue that. But what you can argue about is how do we prevent it from spreading exponentially? And that's where the words on the piece of paper are extremely important.
All right, let's talk for a moment or a few moments about education in our state. You and I have talked about Education Freedom Scholarship and the expansion of the Education Freedom Scholarship, and you have spoken to us about wanting to see some data and some data points on the first year. You voted in favor of the expansion.
Yes,
and I know that you expressed to me on our radio show that you'd really like to get that data in, but on the whole, you believe that the popularity of the program, the waiting list of the program would merit the expansion. I was a little more of a wait and see kind of guy. At the same time, for those waiting, and I've had a number of people that have asked me this question, where are we in the process? Have those scholarships already gone out, or is that yet to happen?
No, that has not yet happened. Once the governor signs the bill, I don't know if he's signed it or not yet, but that'll open up those additional scholarships for immediate use. So there'll be another window of opportunity open. Now, they may use the existing applications based off the order they have been received and just go from there.
Right.
That'd probably be the most logical thing to do. I think that what we're going to see, based off of who I believe is taking advantage of the Education Freedom Scholarship, mostly private school kids, that you're going to see tremendous academic results on this program. It's going to be very successful academically, which is what I'm concerned about. The question you have to ask yourself, and you have to ask people that have voted against this Freedom Scholarship, is, okay, if you have the data and it shows that the kids are doing excellent, now are you willing to support it next year in the General Assembly if we come back? Because remember, if those scholarships get used up, it automatically increases 5,000 more. Subject to funding. So are you willing to have the conversation with great academic success to expand the program?
It once again goes back to, where does all of this stop? At some point, if we get to 10% of the entire student population is on an Education Freedom Scholarship, then aren't we just supplementing bad educational options with money for the parents so that they can find better educational options? I mean, right? At some point, you've got to tackle the problem. If 10% of the student, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
If we get to 10% or 12% of the student population's leaving public education opportunities for other educational opportunities, you're using more of my money to supplement what my money is not accomplishing, and that is educating kids.
That's correct. And so we solved that problem this year in the General Assembly. What we did was we put a provision in there that going forward for the next 2 years, we are going to gather information on students that have left the public school under the Education Freedom Scholarship only. So if you leave for your mom and dad get transferred to Ohio, right, we're not going to hold the districts harmless anymore for that. If a kid transfers out and moves to West Tennessee, right, because mom and dad move, we're not going to hold you harmless for that. And the only reason we're going to hold you harmless as a district on the Education Freedom Scholarship is if they leave for the scholarship to go to a private school and you collect their Social Security number.
So that we can track it.
So we can track them. And so you're going to get that type of reporting in about 2 years, and then we're really going to start to see of how this is affecting the districts.
Do you have a guess? Is it unfair to ask what your best guess would be as to the numbers in terms of, are these kids
Public,
already
private?
in? Yeah.
80-20. 80 already in private school.
So 80% of the kids that are taking advantage of this education freedom scholarship,
that's a
ballpark are already in private school.
Because that's what normal data is across the country when you first have this implementation and you open it up to private school students. It's normally about 80% because you got to have a spot.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've got to really pursue with the next governor is private school expansion, right? We need these schools to expand. We need more private schools. You look at the state of Iowa when they had their Education Freedom Scholarship, there were 17 private schools built in Iowa in a decade. 17.
So if we use those ballpark figures, and this is just you and I talking here, was that the point? What was the point to hand parents? And I understand some of these parents are struggling. I don't get me wrong. I understand some of these parents they're working their butts off to be able to afford getting their kids into private school.
Right.
But if they're already there, was it the point to supplement their payment to these private schools?
Well, from what I understand, and this is where we're going to get into the weeds here, but from what I understand, Matt, is on the income limitations we had on each level, right? The lowest levels were all fulfilled. And then they went to the next level, and those were all fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And now we went to the no-income limitations and filled out the rest.
Mm-hmm.
What we need is two things. Number one, and we saw this with the applications come in for the additional scholarships, 17,000 scholarships were in the lowest income level applications. 17,000. Well, we've only created 15,000 more, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I have no doubt.
So the uptake should be the lowest income people, which meets our threshold. The problem we have is capacity. If I don't have a seat for these kids, how do I get them into a private school and let them take advantage of it? That's the conundrum. And what we need is, I'm going to tell you this. I need the new governor coming in here to put pressure on private schools who want to come to Tennessee to help them expand.
What about putting pressure on the public schools to serve the children better?
So I'll fill, because that's legislation we passed this year. So we have a program. If you're a Tier 3 intervention public school, you are the worst academically performing public school.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 3. Now you have to go to the Commissioner of Education. The Commissioner of Education had to make the call whether or not to intervene and come up with a plan for you to perform better or closure. Well, that put a lot of pressure on the Commissioner of Education to close schools. So I ran a bill that now the commissioner makes the recommendation to the State Board of Education, who we nominate and control, right? We appoint them to make that recommendation, and the State Board of Education now has the authority to agree with the commissioner or say, you know what, we don't agree with you, we're going to do this. And what you're going to start to see is these schools that are perpetually failing in public school, failing their students. You'll probably start to see somebody's getting close, especially if we have a new Commissioner of Education that will pull the trigger.
Now, so forgive me for being, I don't mean to oversimplify this,
Yes.
but if we're doing that, and if we're saying, hey, if you can't perform, you're shutting down, and in the meantime, we're supplementing the cost of sending kids to private school, how is that not turning private school into public schools?
Well, because they still have the right to say no.
The private schools
Yes,
do.
sir. If they don't have a spot, they don't have a spot.
Well, I understand that, but how is it that if more and more of my tax dollars are going to fulfill the financial need of the private educational opportunity, then ultimately that's just public schools?
To a degree, because we don't control their curriculum. We have standards that we set as you have to educate a kid to a certain level every year. And then the private schools and the public schools do it, and the home schools do it.
Right, because I'm just looking at what do we spend, and we're going to talk about this in a minute too. Did you say, you told me this right before the break, almost $10 billion?
Yeah, it's about $9.8 billion.
$9.8 billion. And so I'm just looking at it from a taxpayer perspective,
Yes.
right? We spend $9.8 billion on our public school systems in the state of Tennessee. And obviously some of those are not for doing the job.
That's correct.
And so much so that we, as a General Assembly, felt the need to create this program.
Other options.
to give parents other options and other choices.
Right.
So I was agreeable to that so long as I could understand how we were working to solve the problem of public education that my $9.8 billion is going toward.
Yes.
Because now we're spending, what is it now, 330?
There's some other programs, but let's say $340 million.
$340 million on this additional program. So that's more of my tax dollars on top of the $9.8 billion going to education. And all that money's going to education because we haven't solved the initial problem. Does that make sense?
It does, but you're leaving out one thing: is if we close a public school, those students are still in the public school system. They just have to be sent into other schools in that system. So now the operating costs of the district get lower because you're operating one less school.
And so you're saving that money.
There you go. And so as a state, we will reduce you based off of not your population, but now you have less buildings, so you get less money. So we start to save taxpayer money.
21 after the hour. If you have any questions regarding education, my man Sapicki is here to answer those questions. And I have a question about statewide funding of education because I've had it in my inbox that we spend less money per student than any other state in the United States of America. That's what I heard. That's what I was told.
I'll be happy to give you the facts.
We're going to go into that in just a moment. 21 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for USS, United Structural Systems. What comes to mind when you think of home? Maybe it's meals around the kitchen table, movie nights on the couch, whatever it is. Everything begins and ends with the foundation of your home, right? The center of it all is your home's foundation. And if your foundation isn't secure and stable, well, not a lot else matters. At USS, when it comes to large home repairs, they understand that a lot of time homeowners want to pretend that they don't see the warning signs. But if you've noticed something going on in your home, USS is your go-to spot. At USS, United Structural Systems, they deal with foundation repair, they deal with waterproofing issues, concrete leveling, and it's what they do. One of the first calls that I made when I moved to Mount Pleasant was to USS to make sure that my home is stable, my home is going to be dry for the foreseeable future, and I got the thumbs up, which is pretty nice. What about you? USSTN.com, that's USSTN.com. For over 30 years, they've been keeping homes stable and dry in Middle Tennessee, and they are your local experts in that regard. USS, United Structural Systems. Go to USSTN.com. Hey, friends, you want to know about a place where European Auto Repair does not feel like European Auto Repair? It's Matt Murphy to tell you about the moment that you walk into Eurofix. You'll notice immediately that Eurofix is as clean as a pin. I mean, they're not your typical, quote, greasy garage, right? Because they care about everything from the moment you step into the location, how you're treated, how your vehicle's treated. Every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs they perform. Plus, they do so at below dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with dealer prices. You don't have to get ghosted when you're waiting on a callback. They don't do that at Eurofix. Eurofix fixes everything European. You get a free rental car available at every appointment. Locations in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet. Call today, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit online at myEuroFix.com. That's myEuroFix.com.
And at least one tornado confirmed to have touched down in Middle Tennessee early yesterday morning. And we got to tell you about a pothole on the downtown loop that put about 20 people on the side of the road. We'll tell you about that at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Listen, if you want to get involved in this thing, you can do so. Scott Sapicki is an open book when it comes to telephone calls, especially when it's a conversation about education. He is kind of our go-to guy when it comes to education regarding the General Assembly and matters that they address in said same. 615-737-9986, 26 after the hour. Before we go to some of those calls, so the argument is that Tennessee, and I've heard this from a number of different sources, that Tennessee is 51st when it comes to per student spending in this state. What say you, Scott Sapicki?
That's correct, but if you don't factor in cost of living, then you're not getting a true representation. When you look at what we spend on per pupil spending, and then you factor in our cost of living in Tennessee, our dollars go 3 times as far as some of the worst cost of livings like New York, District of Columbia, Massachusetts, Hawaii, California, right? If you factor us of what we pay per student and give us the cost of living of those worst states in the country, our funding jumps up to like top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, because of the way we govern, we keep our costs low.
Mm-hmm.
We make your dollars go as far as they possibly can. In some cases, 3 and 4 times further, and you've heard this before, than the states that people are moving from to Tennessee.
So your argument is you're getting a lot more bang for the dollar in the state of Tennessee.
And there is no correlation. If you look at our NAEP scores, our national test scores,
Mm-hmm.
we're roughly around 11th in the country. Right, 11th, 12th in the country, right? If you look at our NAEP scores of the people that are in front of us, there's only 3 states that spend more money than us in education that are in front of us. Everybody else is behind us in academic scores. So do you want to be known as the best academic scores in the country, or the ones that spend the most money because your cost of living is so high?
Well, and for me, and you know, my position has never been that more money equals a better quality education, because if that's the case, then I need to, any of these people from the National Education Association, just tell me how much money will guarantee A's.
Well, nobody will tell you that.
Right. Just tell me the amount of money per student that will guarantee that every student will get well educated and get A's.
And if money drove academic results, then why do we take over Memphis?
Well, that's a great question.
Because we spend almost $2 billion a year. 9.8 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
$2 billion in Memphis, and we just pulled the trigger because their academics are so poor in Memphis.
And a lot of folks want to suggest now that has happened, by the way, that there is some sort of racial component involved in that, which is ridiculous. Right. And I think on its face it's ridiculous. But my immediate response is that it would be a tragedy if we didn't do anything for those children, regardless of the color of their skin. But the fact that they are being underserved in the state of Tennessee when so many other students around this state are getting good quality educational opportunities, I think it would be more, dare I say, racist if the state didn't intervene. If they just said, to heck with those kids, they're on their own. They're not going to get the educational opportunities that other kids get. And, they're per capita. They're more African-American than the rest of the state. But we're just going to say to heck with them because it's their problem, not our problem. I think that would be far worse than the answer that y'all gave.
Oh, that's 100% right. I mean, we pulled the trigger because we are cheating students in Memphis academically. We're cheating them. And we are the adults in the room, and we're supposed to have their best interests. When you look at the debate on the House floor, go back, challenge anybody, go back and look at the debate on taking over Memphis. The opposition to taking over Memphis was talking about the system, talking about money, talking about jobs, right? On our side, you know who we were talking about? The kids.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to get these kids across the finish line to compete, be able to join the military, go into career technical, get a community college associates, or go to a four-year institution because they can? Those kids in Memphis can't do it now, Matt. We're going to change that.
Mike and Kevin and John and Jeff all want to talk to Scott Sapicki about educational opportunities in the state of Tennessee. We'll do it next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, an EF1 tornado confirmed by the National Weather Service following yesterday morning's severe weather across Middle Tennessee. The tornado developed near Strawberry Hill Road before moving through parts of Robertson County. This woman telling Channel 4 it was terrifying.
It's scary to be a mom. We're just so fortunate that, you know, we weren't directly affected. But, you know, to get your little girl up at 2 in the morning and get in a storm shelter. And then my friends are texting me saying there's a tornado that hit on Greer. And
yeah, that tornado was on the ground for 2 minutes with winds estimated at 95 miles per hour. We're still waiting to learn whether or not it was a tornado that did all the damage in Lawrence County yesterday morning. TDOT says it's going to have to make repairs to part of the downtown loop tonight after witnesses say more than 20 cars were pulled over after hitting a pothole. Mary Harlow telling Channel 4 she had to call out at work at a hospital where she helped surgeons perform serious procedures.
I was heading on 40 going through downtown when I violently hit what I guess was a pothole. Didn't see it. So I immediately pulled over. I knew immediately something was wrong. It is absolutely appalling that our roads are in this kind of shape. The citizens of Nashville, Davidson County, and the state of Tennessee deserve better.
Now, if you believe your vehicle is damaged by a pothole, you can file a claim with the State Treasury Department for reimbursement for any repairs. And the Federal Reserve leaving interest rates unchanged. The Fed voted to hold the benchmark rate in a range between 3.5% and 3.75% today. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. It is a long stop-and-go grind to get over to 24 if you are eastbound 440 from 65. Same goes for the South Loop. Both directions, it is stop-and-go. And it looks like we've got a crash over by the airport now. Right lane block, 40 eastbound before Briley Parkway East. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Let's speak for a moment about your health. If you are feeling down in the dumps, I mean, I have been down in the dumps, and I should have gone to Grace Point a couple of days ago. I did not, but I need to get over there. Affordable, convenient, comprehensive medicine in a direct pay format. It's so easy. I have no excuses. You have no excuses, right? You get over to Grace Point, and same day service in most cases, next day in most cases. They'll get you in. They'll get you an appointment. You don't have to wait a long time in the waiting room when you get there either. They can get you right on back, and they can treat what ails you, and they never allow insurance companies to get in their way. That's why they're a direct pay format, right? You can file with your insurance company for reimbursement after the fact, but what you get charged, you get charged, whether you have insurance, whether you don't have insurance. The bottom line is this. They keep their costs low in that fashion. They don't allow insurance companies to dictate what they're allowed to do. They want to treat the root cause of the issue, not the symptoms of the issue. They get to the bottom of it. And with a Smart Care plan, you can pay that through your HSA thanks to the big, beautiful bill. And you're not out any out-of-pocket expense, and that's $99 a month, and you get unlimited office visits at that point. Grace Point Healthcare, this is a no-brainer. 599-6868 is the telephone number. Give them a call, 599-6868. It's modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Pardon me while I further a conversation that Sapicki and I were just having. You know what? Who would have greatly benefited from military school is young Jackson. Oh, he looked right at you, Jackson. When I said that, you see what he did there? Looked right at you.
He might be able to find his razor.
Maybe so.
Are you
Jackson?
Are you part Native American?
Like 1/32nd.
It must be Apache. Apache here, Apache there. That's an old baseball joke. Sorry.
I don't think I've ever heard that one. You made me giggle, Sapicki. That's pretty funny.
We love you. We tease you because we love you.
We were talking about private education. We were talking about Columbia Academy, and I didn't realize until fairly recent. I was at Mule Day.
Yeah.
Where I was talking to somebody about Columbia and said, I love being here, love being in Murray County. We started talking about Columbia Academy, and they were telling me that Columbia Academy was originally a military
That's correct.
school.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Uniforms and everything. You'd look good in a uni. You know what I'm saying?
You saying I don't look good in the way I currently dress?
You look great, Jackson. You look fabulous.
Thanks, buddy.
You've never looked better.
I'm in my corner over here.
Yeah, I'm old and my eyesight's going.
You know, with that outfit you have on today, you could be my Nink-a-poop.
And maybe will be. You never know.
Maybe will be.
Speaking of Nink-a-poops, Sapicki is here.
Ouch.
Hey-o. Let us, I promised that I would get to your calls, and I want to do so. So let's get to who has been holding the longest. I think John in Murfreesboro. John, you are up with Scott Sapicki. Good afternoon, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I got a couple of questions. First off, I'm Murfreesboro. I'm fortunate enough that my daughter went to McFadden School of Excellence and is now a junior at Central Magnet in Murfreesboro. When I hear people talk about education, they never talk about Central Magnet, which is ranked number 3 in the country for high schools. Never. I've never heard anybody at the radio station talk about Central Magnet and education. Dr. Ash has done an incredible job in the 10-year period of time that he has created. But I also want to say that I'm dead set against the help of going to private schools, because there's so many programs within the Tennessee school system that are not utilized. Now, I'm not 100% sure that the Spectrum program is still in existence. Scott can answer that question. And a Spectrum program is where they take intellectually gifted kids out of class 1 or 2 days a week and pull them together and advance their education. But also, so many of the schools in the state of Tennessee don't really offer AP classes. Like the closest high school other than Central Magnet offers 3. My daughter's going to graduate with 20 AP classes. So why are we not taking that money and putting it towards items like that? Or in very dense populated places, why don't we turn 1 or 2 other schools into magnet schools, such as McFadden School of Excellence or Central Magnet?
John, excellent point. Keep listening for your answer, and I'm going to let Scott speak to that.
Yeah, he talks about the gem of our public schools are our magnet schools. You've heard me talk about Hume Fogg down here in Metro Nashville, one of the best educational institutions in the country. We have these kids, now whether or not it's good or not, they're going to Ivy League schools, they're going to MIT. We need more of our districts to be comfortable with creating these magnet schools, right? Especially specialty magnets. You can have a magnet on career technical training, right? And start to really focus on bringing these types of programs online. On dual enrollment, we've invested so much more money in dual enrollment and more opportunities for our kids. There is no reason why that you should not be in high school and graduating with college credits now in Tennessee. We have opened the door for that. I think the answer his question more directly is we need more school boards to be more aggressive with magnet schools and starting creating those opportunities for their kids. That's all.
Jeff is Jeff is next in Indiana, it says here. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Hey, guys. Doing pretty good. I think what we're going to have to do is, people can't imagine, the government runs the schools and government funds the schools. Government should fund the schooling, but should not run any of the schools. I believe every school should be private, and put a price on each student, and then, the state sets the curriculum, the have-to curriculum, and then you can have your electives to each school and everything, and that'd be a kind of a draw for whichever school you'd like to pick. I think the schools are gagging in money. I know in Indiana we spend a whole lot of money on administration and everything, and the kids they can't buy paper clips and stuff. So, I think you'll find that you could lease the school buildings that are present now, to private enterprises and everything, and the state would be making money, or the community be making money off the building.
Doesn't that just? And then that just turns the privates into publics, basically. I mean, Jeff, thank you for that. I mean, I've got a lot of people to get to. I don't mean to rush you, Jeff, but I want Scott to be able to.
Let me clean this up a little bit. We don't set curriculum; we set standards. So we say, hey, in 3rd grade, this is what we want the kids to learn, right? Mm-hmm. And then we give the flexibility to the public schools to figure a curriculum that best fits their needs, like classical education, right? Mm-hmm. Classical education is approved in the state of Tennessee for our districts. If a public school district wants to do classical education, it is more than acceptable right now. I think what you got to be careful of is, and I think this is where kind of charters come into play here, is where you have a public school that is more focused on, like the bill I ran this year to give our private 4-year institutions, religiously based, the ability to have a public charter school. Could you imagine if Belmont had a charter school on music? Mm-hmm. How great that school would be for our kids. It would be like a magnet, right? We get our best production on tailoring the education to the kids that is their focus. If you have an engineering charter and you got a bunch of kids that want to be engineers, they're going to excel in that type of environment, or you're going to be pushed, right? I think what we have to really think of, and this is moving forward, is enable to be excellent, we have to demand excellence, right? We have to hold people accountable. We need teachers that are going to engage their students, and you know what we got to get away from? Technology in the classroom.
The problem is we don't have an ability to hold the parents accountable.
Never have. Now, that's a societal issue.
I agree.
That as a small L libertarian, you don't want me telling parents how to raise their kids.
No, but, because we've involved ourselves as deeply as we have in the educational opportunities through taxpayer dollars, then obviously government has some say in all of this.
They do.
But I don't have an answer for it. I'm just saying that we can hold every entity accountable except for the parental entity. And that is the genesis of most of the problem.
And that's where we have to get Dolly Parton, right? Her imagination library, where my kids got books from Dolly Parton, right? And I sat there at night and read to my kids. If there's one thing, I should say if there's two things as a parent you're going to do for your children in life, read to them and send them to school with a full belly. If you'll do those two things, the educational outcomes are tremendously better.
Mike is next in Nashville. Mike, you've got a question for Scott Sapicki?
It's Lot P. How's it going, boys?
What's up, man?
Lot P.
Couple things. Scott, first and foremost, one thing that you left out, or Representative Sapicki, I'm sorry. We're out of session now. I'm just excited.
You're fine.
One of the best things that Representative Sapicki has ever done was to pass the third grade retention law. Reading law. And, I think it is a testament to what lawmakers have done in Tennessee that we have state funding for government schools as low as it is, and yet our results, we are 18th, is that right, Scott, in the national report card?
That's about right,
18th
yes.
in the country?
That's about right.
Yeah, so we're 18th in the country, well above average in the country, and you guys both know I don't love government schools, but if we're going to have them, right, they need to perform. So we are 18th in the country compared to our peers, number 18 in the country, and yet we spend far less than many other states. And we get those results thanks to the innovative laws like the third grade retention law that Representative Sapicki passed. And so I think every state in the country should be looking to Tennessee to see what we're doing, how we are getting so much more by spending so much less. Tennessee lawmakers have not fallen into this trap of writing limitless checks to government schools so they can grow their bureaucracy and their bloat in their administrations. That is something to be proud of. That number is something to be proud of, and I'm very proud of all of them doing that. The next thing that I want to comment on is the school choice debate. I know we're going back and forth on this, but I hate that this is always left out. It's been left out every caller that's called in and said anything about it. It's not always academic. Some parents just don't want their kids being indoctrinated by government school teachers who are sitting there praising the death of Charlie Kirk. It may be the best damn school in the state. And in my case, lot
for you get pushback from me. I don't have any kids. I pay into this. I don't have any kids. I pay into this system. Why should I supplement the money? Lotfi, listen to the question before you answer, pal. Okay? Why should I be on the hook for that parent's decision making?
You shouldn't.
Well, I am.
Personally.
Hold on, buddy. I am to the tune of $330 million.
Well, yeah, you want to defund public schools sure, go ahead. Defund all of them. I mean, that's
I just have an expectation that my money going into the public education system isn't going to that type of garbage that you just described that we're now supplementing to get people away from.
So we agree. So what's the problem?
Well, the problem is you're throwing.
What are you yelling about,
you're throwing. I'm yelling at you because my money is going to both now. My money is going to the private school and to the public school.
Your money is going to fund kids' education wherever the hell the parent decides that they're going to send their kid, which is a good thing.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you're spending so much of my money and you think it's a good thing.
Well, I mean, hey, like I said, you want to defund public schools, that's your position, by all means, defund education.
I would much prefer to privatize education as opposed to leaving the system that you just described in place and then spending more money on top of the $10 billion that we're already spending on that system that you self-described as a failure. Instead of fixing that system, we're just spending money in the private schools.
Who said we're not trying to fix the system or that we shouldn't fix that system?
How are you?
Why does it have to be either or for you? all of a sudden?
It doesn't.
Last
It
year,
doesn't.
Last year you didn't have a problem
with
this. Now you do suddenly. I'm confused.
I have a problem with expansion without seeing results. And hold on. The predicate in my support of EFS was that we were also going to solve these systemic issues that existed within the system that you claim is a failure and we need to get away from.
I don't personally think you can solve a government schools system. But,
yeah, but
we're doing pretty well compared to our peers.
So we can't solve that, but let's still spend $10 billion on it and an additional amount of money so that we can protect the parents that want to get their kids the hell out of it.
I don't know what you're yelling at me about. I am with you that we should privatize the system. I've never disagreed with you. So I don't know why you're yelling at me. It's very
I'm yelling at you because you're so proudly spending my money.
Okay. Well.
Okay. All right. I'll see you later.
So let me walk everybody back here a little bit. When I came to the General Assembly 8 years ago, we were 47th in education. In fourth grade right now, we're 23rd in the country. In fourth grade math, we're 12th. In eighth grade reading, we're 20th. And in eighth grade math, we're 19th out of 50 states. We are no longer the public educational system we were 8 years ago. We are now pretty good. Now, what we're getting to now are the hard parts of legislation, Matt, is where to go from 47 to 22nd, you're climbing over people that weren't doing it very good. We can probably admit that, right?
Sure.
But to go from 20th, let's say 20th, to top 10, those are people that are doing it fairly well. Now you've got to start to make the tough decisions. How are we going to get better? How are we going to get the kids in Memphis performing better, or Nashville, or Chattanooga, or even my home county, Murray County, right? How do we get these kids performing better? It's legislation. It's going after the things that make us better, and that's the hard part.
And I'm not trying to, and Lotfi, I'm not trying to yell at you. I just get frustrated with how flippantly, and Lotfi, this is what set me off, if you're wondering, how flippantly you spend my money. You're like, well, they're doing all this bad stuff over here, so we're going to get kids over here. Well, you're double spending at that point. You're still spending the same amount of money that you were in the public system. You haven't fixed that. You've given up on that, but you're spending my money on the other thing. And that's what ticks me off, is that it's my money that you're spending. And I don't have any kid in any part of the system, yet I'm getting charged twice for a kid that was going to the public school system, that failed them, and now they're going to the private school system.
And so your issue about being charged twice, that's what we addressed this year.
Yes.
That is going to start to wane. That if a school system loses a kid because Jackson moves away, well, we were never intended to hold you harmless for that.
Correct.
What we're holding you harmless for is this program that we've come up with to give a parent a better opportunity to seek a better opportunity for their kids. I think what will happen is, Matt, in a couple years, your concerns about the double funding will now wane and go away because we've gotten stricter.
And I'm willing to be patient. I'm willing to be patient.
But we got to see the results. We got to get the results.
Maggie is next. Hey, Maggie, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all doing?
Doing great.
Well, this is a question for Representative Sipicki. I'm looking at the data right now, and it appears that, in Tennessee, public school students are only 39% of public school students are proficient in English in Tennessee, and only 42% of public school students are proficient in math. Is that acceptable to you? To me, that is a mediocrity at its best. Anything under 50% proficiency is just sad. And here you are taking $330 million from what could be implemented into the public school sector. For example, you could have given that money to the charter sector that has 15 years of historical data on the improvements they've done and the achievement gaps that they're closing for kids. So I'll be quiet and let you talk.
Okay, so yeah.
Thank you, Maggie.
So, boy, there's a lot to unpack there. Where do you want to start? Charter schools, right? We have expanded opportunities for charter schools in the state of Tennessee. We've created facilities funding for charter schools to make sure that they have the money to be started up. We have passed laws that make it where if a local district says no to a charter school, they can appeal to the charter commission. We have looked at all the different programs we've had to make public education better. I have never said ever, and you've heard me say this, Matt, I am never happy with 40% literacy rates, but I'm happy that we're not 22 anymore. We've come almost 20% higher in the last 7 years. All of our programs, is it Maggie?
It's Maggie, yeah.
Maggie. All the programs that we have instituted to hold accountability, the number's not 50%, Matt, it's 70%. 70% puts us number one in the country. That's what we're striving for, is 70%. But Matt, there's still 30% of the kids that can't read on grade level then.
So, asked and answered, you're not satisfied with the 42% that she brought up, obviously,
No,
but you're happy that we're moving in the right
That
direction.
we're not 22. That's 20% more of our kids in Tennessee in third grade that are on grade level now. Our goal is to get to 70.
We have to sadly leave it there because we're simply out of time. I'm way behind. So, Scott, I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that called, including Lotfi, who I yelled at. But I sometimes my emotions get the better of me, and I get frustrated that the lowly taxpayer feels like we get left behind sometimes, particularly those of us that are childless. We got to run. Ryan tells me it is 55 after the hour. Thank you to Scott Sapicki. Back in a moment. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I'd love to talk to you for a moment about Contours and Contours LLC. Contours is simply the finest organization that I know that can help assist you in getting off the weight or getting off the size that you feel. You know, if you feel your belly's a little bigger than you want it to be, and you felt like you've done everything you should do, you know, you're doing the walking and you're exercising, you're eating correctly, and you still can't get it off, Contours is the place to go. They are red light therapy. This is modern technology, and this is incredible, right? Eat right, exercise, and then get a little help from Contours. In Cool Springs, they help men and women lose fat and so much more. Their ultra slim body contouring guarantees you'll lose 2 inches after that first treatment, or it's free. It's not invasive, doesn't hurt. The results are instantaneous. I've gone through the process, and I know that it works. Contours LLC, give them a call today at 615-236-9960, 236-9960, or online at contoursllc.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, the National Weather Service says an EF1 tornado touched down in Davidson and Robertson counties early Tuesday. Trees were damaged, farm buildings damaged. Most significant impacts reported near Browns Lake Road. Peak winds estimated at 95 miles per hour with the damage path just over a mile long. No injuries reported as a result of the tornado there north of Nashville. And we have learned from the National Weather Service that it was not a tornado that did the damage in Lawrence County, but there were some high winds, and at least 2 people were injured in the storms Tuesday morning in Lawrence County. And then last night in North Texas.
Despite the damage done by high winds and baseball-sized hail, no one was killed in the storms that marched for miles across this region. As for victims still trapped in buildings or cars,
we're still going to receive calls as some people start checking on loved ones.
Ryan Dunn is the fire chief in the hard-hit town of Mineral Wells.
We're going to go out and check and make sure everybody's okay, but so far we have not had any reports of anyone missing.
Dunn reports 2 people were hurt in his city. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Here in Nashville, Mayor Freddie O'Connell using his State of the Metro address to propose cutting Nashville's local grocery tax by half a cent. He said the reduction would save families about $74 a year, and it would be paid for through tighter Metro budgets, not higher taxes elsewhere. Child care costs, O'Connell highlighted what he said were new investments and regulatory changes aimed at making it faster and easier to open child care centers citywide. The idea there, more child care options means less cost. And Channel 4's Lauren Lowry on what went down in a neighborhood in Antioch, just east of 24 and Haywood Lane.
A man is in custody today after police say he held up traffic and pulled a gun out on several drivers. This happened yesterday near Artelia and Dowdy Drive in Antioch. Police say they found the 27-year-old's Dodge Charger in the middle of the intersection before he took off. Officers were forced to use spike strips to stop the vehicle. Canines eventually helped find Victor Martinez, Alan Cost in some woods. Police say he told officers he was from Mexico and didn't have a valid license. He's facing 5 charges, including assault.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we picked up another crash. This is Old Hickory Boulevard at Nolensville Pike. Then we're still looking at one in Rutherford County. This is a vehicle versus a semi, 840 eastbound at Veterans Parkway. Complete stop-and-go traffic continues northbound 65 up to the South Loop downtown, then both directions 40. That's between downtown and the eastern split. And then, of course, eastbound 24 from 440. I'm Ken Weaver.
I told you there would be a flurry of activity, and there has been thus far on the show today. A very in-depth conversation regarding educational opportunities in the state of Tennessee with Representative Scott Cepicky. Always a compelling talk, and I appreciate Scott being on with us for the length of time that he was. A lot of telephone calls. I appreciate all of you for calling in, and we'll move on from that. We'll get maybe back to the subject of education a little bit later on in the show. But right now, we shall move forward. We shall, as they say, sally forth. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, episode 1027 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. You can find us on a variety of platforms. Like, subscribe, say hello to us if you're over there. We certainly appreciate your participation in the show, either passively by listening, actively by dialing us up on the telephone, or dialing us up on the super text line, 615-737-9986. You can also follow me on social media platforms at Matt Murphy Show. Most every platform I'm on, at Matt Murphy Show. Follow me there, like, subscribe, and do all of those things as well. So we had a United States Supreme Court decision that was, it will stand to be quite consequential with regard to its impact, not just across the United States of America, not just in Louisiana where the court case was decided, but right here in the state of Tennessee. If you've not been around a radio, if you've not been around your mobile device where you get news and information, it was decided by the United States Supreme Court earlier today on a 6-3 vote that we would not be permitting racial districting of congressional districts in the United States of America. I think it was Samuel Alito, and I'll paraphrase him in his concurring opinion. It might have even been the majority opinion when Alito clearly defined what we are allowing and what we will not allow. Here's the quote, as a matter of fact. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act was designed to enforce the Constitution, not collide with it. Unfortunately, lower courts have sometimes applied this court's Section 2 precedent in a way that forces states to engage in the very race-based discrimination that the Constitution forbids. And the Supreme Court is prepared to stop that. So we do not allow racial gerrymandering, but we do and will not get involved with partisan gerrymandering, which ought to be very different things. We welcome into this conversation a voice of reason in this regard. He is represented. Oh, by the way, before I welcome in Johnny, I welcome in Cameron Smith. He's with us. He writes for the Tennessee, and obviously Cameron joins us on these Wednesdays together, and we appreciate him being with us. And we appreciate Representative Johnny Garrett being with us as well to talk about the possibility, based on this Supreme Court decision, of redrawing Tennessee's district lines. Johnny, first and foremost, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well, friend.
I'm doing great. 1,027 episodes. Congrats on that.
I'll tell you what, and they said it wouldn't last, Johnny. And I give you.
Well, I mean, I might have agreed with them. You proved everybody wrong, Matt. You proved everybody wrong.
I'm trying to yell at less and less people, and I've not been very successful.
It's not your nature.
Look, you hit me up, and you are as excited as I on this decision on the part of the court to say, listen, the Constitution does not provide for racial discrimination of any kind, And if you are being racially discriminatory in the manner in which you gerrymander or draw district lines, we're going to stop that. Now, partisan drawing of lines, we're not going to get into that debate. But if it's racial in its nature, we're going to say something about that. And I feel like this might have an impact in the state of Tennessee with the possibility of us redrawing congressional district lines. Talk to me about this.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Supreme Court got this right in their 6-3 decision. You cannot redistrict or cannot district congressional seats based upon race. The Democrats are used to winning by cheating. Not only have they have done just this, which the Supreme Court will strike down and continue to hopefully strike down, they also, count illegal aliens. And we wonder why for 4 years we had a very porous border to come into this country to count those, to make sure their congressional districts are overinflated with non-Americans, so they can remain with their congressional districts and draw them as they will, which violates the Constitution. So I think that it's a very real possibility to save this country, to save Tennessee, because we can have 9 Republican conservatives in Congress to stand with President Trump here in this state, which I believe our state is red to the root, right? That's what we've seen. That's what we've seen in our elections. And we need those conservatives here. So I believe that it's a real possibility, and there's a real appetite to make sure Tennessee is reflective by the voter base that we have.
Well,
and we need a special session to make sure we correct that.
Well, let me play a little bit of a devil's advocate, because I don't know that I necessarily disagree with you, but at the same time, the argument would be made that if it is wrong to take what was a 6-5 state like Virginia, and their split seems to be fairly even, they're fairly purple over there, 6-5 feels about right, and turn that into 10-1, then, while Tennessee is a red state, Johnny, but we're not exclusively red. So is it wrong to take what is an 8-1 state and turn it into a 9-0 state, denying some of those Democrats that are in Tennessee? I'm just asking the question to get your response to it. Is that not wrong to take away that level of representation in those little blue areas in Tennessee?
Well, I think you phrased it just perfectly at the very end there with the little blue areas. Tennessee is overwhelmingly red. And look, we've got to save America, right? I mean, that's what the Democrats have been doing for generations, is gerrymandering these districts to make sure they win their elections and we don't have a fair shot. You take Texas and California. You take other states that have a minority of some 40 to 45% of Republicans, yet there's no Republican in Congress. There's states like that right now. That's not Tennessee. That's not the face of Tennessee. That's not what we've been working for the past decade, since the Republicans have taken over the General Assembly, and what Tennesseans want. We need, obviously, those folks that go to D.C. to look a little bit more like Tennessee here, right? Because that's what Tennessee is. That's the backbone of Tennessee. And we need to make sure Tennessee remains red. And like I said before, we are an absolute state that's conservative, that continues to win the statewide election. So there's no comparison to Virginia for what they have done here. We need to make sure we save America. We need to pass the SAVE Act. We need to make sure Americans are voting for Americans, and we're simply not seeing that. So we need common sense, reasonable folks, reasonable conservatives to make sure we have fair, accurate elections that represent Tennessee. That's why I believe a special session is necessary, to make sure we reflect the values that Tennesseans hold dear. Right now,
you want to try to real quick, because I know Cameron Smith has a question for you, but you want to try to get this done prior to November? Do you think we could do that?
Done tomorrow if we could. I think it's feasible. I mean, it has to be acted upon fairly quickly with the deadlines and where we are, but I think it's certainly feasible.
Yeah, but Johnny,
there's
this is Cameron.
certain notice requirements for a special.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
Do you think that there's any issue with Tennessee being able? Obviously, the Voting Rights Act has been the one blocker to drawing out Memphis as a district. Does Tennessee have any problems doing the things that it wants to get the representation it wants to have?
I mean, I don't know what you mean by what type of problem.
Well, I mean, so what we're talking about is we're going to draw out the Memphis district right now. That's a reliably Democratic district. We're going to take a lot of those voters, specifically voters that are, I mean, it's a huge Democratic vote right there. And then split it around the state? Are we going to try to redraw every district to kind of break that up evenly? Because that is a heavy concentration of Democratic vote.
Well, it's a heavy concentration of black votes, which is, I mean, I think that's what the Supreme Court spoke to today, right? Is that you can't demonstrate that you're drawing district lines based on racial components.
Well, but I think what Johnny and what the legislature really cares is we want to disadvantage Democrats. And that's completely legitimate.
Right,
you know,
sure.
Disadvantaging black voters, not legitimate, huge problem.
Right.
But saying, hey.
Well, I think we also want our congressional districts to reflect what Tennessee is. So I think any approach to redrawing these maps to make sure the numbers work is that we reflect what Tennessee is. I don't think it breaks down.
What is it?
The Supreme Court obviously said you obviously can't break down a district, whether it's the state level or the federal level, based upon race alone. That was the crux of the decision today, and that's what some states have been doing, and I believe that's what the Voting Rights Act didn't contemplate that. We're just returning to the original intent of the Voting Rights Act.
But where are you going to – what I'm asking is basically a political question, because what's going to happen is you have a massively Democratic district around Memphis. You're going to have to, if you want to draw that out so Republicans can be competitive, some of those Democrats have to go somewhere. So which districts are going to take them?
8, 7.
I don't. That's where the rubber meets the road, right? That's where the work begins to make sure we have that representation in not just Memphis but also Shelby County. I mean, I believe those districts don't. Shelby County is not just its own congressional district, even if it stands now.
Right, but Johnny, the question
I'm in the same way now.
The question I'm asking is, I'm a Republican, and let's call it an R+20 district. I feel pretty good. You make me an R+5. The way I've been running is not going to be real exciting anymore. It changes the character of the district. And so I don't want that. So you got to you got to basically redraw all the districts to give all the remaining districts in Tennessee a little bit more Democratic.
That's kind of the way. I mean, and not to interrupt your answer, Johnny, but isn't that that's kind of what they did in Nashville, right?
Yes.
They kind of subdivided 5 up and made it more of a regional district line, and it took, I mean, Johnny, you're running in 6, right? So, I mean, 6 probably looked a lot different 6 years ago than it does now. Does that – I mean, I think I know the answer to this, Johnny, but I asked the question. But that doesn't change the way that you approach talking to people in your district, does it?
Absolutely not. It wouldn't change anything, I think, as it relates to what these districts might come down to, because you can't look at that possibility, right? You just got to make sure you divide it up appropriately, divide it up in the way that voters would look at their particular district on a new non-congressional seats, right? You can't look at the political aspect of that. That goes very against what the Supreme Court just said. But I do believe that
No. That's actually the opposite of what the Supreme Court just said. Like the Supreme Court said, you can look at politics and draw those lines along political lines all day long. You can't draw them along racial lines.
That's right. If I misspoke about that, you're right. That's exactly right. But my point is that I believe that the reflection of Tennessee reflects that we should have 9-0 in our congressional delegation of Republicans. Will they make those numbers a little bit closer? They could.
Do you know how many states have no Republican members in their congressional delegation?
A bunch.
1.
No, there's more than 1.
There are
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Maine.
In their
another
congressional?
One. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I
knew Massachusetts off the.
I think New Hampshire and Vermont.
All right, let me double check. I may be wrong too.
Yeah, I think New Hampshire, Vermont. I think maybe Connecticut. I think there's several in the North. But either way, I don't want to bog down on it. But the broader question is, I mean, are we comfortable where this goes? I mean, because I'm not suggesting in a state like Tennessee we're going to see, we're not going to become purple anytime soon. At least I hope not, Johnny. But
that's right.
I mean, let's cross our fingers and pray that doesn't happen. But in those more purple states, as things might swing in more quote unquote wave type elections, I mean, is it just kind of where the chips are going to fall where they may in terms of giving the ability, if these things swing one way or the other, for redrawing of congressional districts in those individual states? Are we comfortable with that?
Well, I think we're comfortable to make sure that we support President Trump and avoid all that we can for what happened, in Virginia, that we don't undermine the America First agenda, right? And I also think that we can draw these seats where they ultimately become safe seats. Will they be a little bit closer? Maybe. We'd have to look.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
That's what we would have to do, and I think that's why we need to have those conversations.
And by the way, it's
see what
six.
that looks like.
You were right. It's not one. It's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, Hawaii, New Mexico, Connecticut, and Delaware. They're all small states, but there are 6.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Yeah,
well,
so that
my thing has always been, gentlemen, and I'll get both of you to respond to this. My thing has always been, I'm not a Republican. Y'all know that, but I don't think Republicans started this. Democrats started this. Democrats started this way back to benefit Democrats.
With gerrymandering. It does not bother me. I don't know.
Absolutely done it.
I don't know why everybody's like, well, you can't use your elected majorities to do elected majority things. That seems kind of weird.
Right, and the courts seem to indicate, hey, y'all want to do that, do that. What you can't do is make these determinations based on,
protected classes, and and conditions upon one's birth that one can't control, like the color of one's skin.
Right. That's right.
Well, Johnny, do you call? I mean, you are not only running for the 6th congressional district, but you're also a sitting representative. Would you like to see a special session?
I would love to see a special session to see if we could figure out if we could make Tennessee have 9 Republican members in this delegation rather than 8 to 1. I mean, Steve Cohen is a woke Democrat, and would love to have him replaced and make sure we have conservatives that represent us and at the federal level in all matters. So I think it's absolutely worth having this conversation, see if these numbers can exist. And the only way that we're going to get serious about this if we do have a special session.
Johnny, I got so much more to talk to you about. You need to get in here so we can talk about the General Assembly. I'm out of time, but I want to talk to you about some of the things going down in the General Assembly and find out how the campaign's going. So get in here soon, brother.
We'll do it, Matt.
Right,
thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, there's Johnny Garrett. We'll continue the discussion with Cameron Smith in a moment because it's a it goes to the heart of politics, and one man's gerrymandering is another man's fair district lines, right? And suddenly gerrymandering has become like a nasty word. Oh, it's horrible, it's awful. But I mean, how else are you going to do it?
You got the majority. Use
it. And by the way, and Johnny, I appreciate what you're saying about the 9th piece of that puzzle, the 9th piece of that pie going from blue to red. But Tennessee was in front of all this. We already did this with the 5th. We'll talk about that in a moment. 24 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for King & Associates Insurance. I've been telling you for a while now about homeowners. I've been telling you for a while now about auto and how if you bundle those two things, you can save big with King & Associates Insurance. And I still want you to call and ask about all of that. But let me talk to you business owners for a moment. If you own a business, one claim can cost you everything. Most business owners don't realize that they are underinsured until it's too late. And I don't want that to happen to you, nor does King & Associates Insurance. They don't just sell policies. They identify risk and before they become problems, and they are the problem solvers before the problem even presents itself. So if you're a contractor, a restaurant owner, a growing company, build coverage that protects your business. Don't guess about these things. Know about these things. Business owners, call King & Associates Insurance today. 615-329-8121, 329-8121, or online at kinginsurance.com. kinginsurance.com for a free commercial coverage review today. Make the call. I remember it like it was just yesterday. It feels like yesterday, right? The 5th annual Glock Store open house was going on, and Dan walks over to me, and Lenny's there, and there's also many people there, and there's food trucks and everything. And Dan tells me over at the Glock Store, he says, Murphy, we're giving away $25,000 worth of gear, 3 Glocks, and all manner of other stuff in this raffle from 10 until 2. And I said to Dan, it can't get any better than this. And Dan said, I know, Murphy, it can't get any better than this. Well, it's the year after, and the 6th annual Glock Store Nashville Open House is upon us. May 30th this year from 10 until 2. And Dan has just informed me that it can, in fact, get better than what it was last year. As a matter of fact, double time. They're doubling down on the giveaways. $50,000, you heard me correctly, dollars worth of great gear giving away in one day in 4 hours. Red Dot Optics, Radian Ramjets, the latest and the greatest, they're giving it away. And oh yeah, they're giving away Glocks again. The earlier you come, the less raffle tickets in the bucket, the better your chances of winning. Friends, I want you to be a winner at the open house, and all it takes is for you to show up at the one and only Glock Store. I'll be there. Dan Mandis will be there. Chris Hand will be there, and we want to see you 10 until 2, May 30th, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, especially on open house day at the Glock Store.
At least one tornado confirmed early yesterday morning in Middle Tennessee, and Mayor Freddie O'Connell's State of the Metro address focusing heavily on affordability. We'll tell you about it at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's Ken Weaver. He's got news coming up. My name is Matt Murphy. Ryan's controlling the experience, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. You know who is in desperate need of a nickname? Not you, Jackson. You got 28 of them.
I mean, 29's nice, too.
Jay Willie. We're not supposed to say truffle butter anymore because apparently that's more than just a type of butter, I'm told. That's something else.
Truffle shuffle.
Oh, the truffle shuffle.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing from the
Goonies.
You ever seen it?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like you're lying so you don't get it at the Matt Murphy movie Mayhem?
I've seen it.
Okay.
Who hasn't seen the Goonies?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Ryan. Ryan is in desperate need of a nickname is the answer to the question. Jackson has way more than his fair share. He's Reaction Jackson, Action Jackson, J Willie, Y2J.
King.
What?
He calls himself King Jackson. Nobody.
Why don't we just call him Life Champion?
We're a lot closer than we normally are, bud.
It's okay.
My name's Bennett. I've already
interfered.
I've already argued with friends today. I'm out. I already yelled at Lotfi and made him all mad. I don't know that I made Lotfi all mad. All right, so be careful what you wish for on these redistrictings, though, because you're creating more. You have to naturally. I think your point is, Cameron. Yeah, whatever your name is. I think your point is that. You naturally have to, if you're going to take a blue district, like we did, we did this in the state of Tennessee with District Number 5.
Yes,
but we created more competitive districts. And I want you to give us the rundown the numbers after the news.
All right,
because let me tell you something. If this blue quote unquote wave happens, 5 is in play, y'all, and Andy Ogles has no money right now.
Right,
Andy Ogles is sitting on no money, and Chaz Mulder is going to have $1.5 million to spend.
Has anybody heard from Charlie Hatcher? Can somebody do a wellness check?
Not since he gave me delicious chocolate milk.
I love the chocolate milk.
Everybody
that
loves the
alone
chocolate
is
milk.
enough to get me intrigued about his candidacy, but I have not heard from this guy.
I don't know where he is. I don't know when he's going to start spending money. We'll find out. It's time for the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, we have learned that at least one tornado touched down as those storms rolled through early Tuesday morning. It was an EF1 tornado. National Weather Service says it snapped trees, damaged barns along its path there in Davidson and Robertson counties. It was on the ground for about 2 minutes and reached estimated winds of 95 miles per hour. Right now in Nashville, Channel 4's Brendan Tierney says Mayor Freddie O'Connell's State of the Metro address focused heavily on affordability.
One of the biggest proposals is cutting the grocery tax by half a cent. That would save a family of four around $72 per year.
Reducing our grocery tax doesn't just change a line on a receipt. It acknowledges that feeding your family shouldn't be treated like a luxury.
The mayor also talked about the need for cheaper housing and committed to the city's largest ever investment in affordable housing. We're going to get more specific details about these plans on Friday when the new budget proposal's released.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we picked up a crash 40 eastbound just past Fessler's Lane. Still working one at Old Hickory Boulevard and Nolensville Pike. Charlotte Avenue just west of I-40. Then in Brentwood, a wreck, Old Hickory Boulevard at Hearthstone Lane. 40 westbound on-ramp from Donaldson Pike. There's a stalled vehicle there. That's over by the airport. And then complete stop-and-go brake tapping northbound 65 to the South Loop, eastbound 440 over to 24. And northbound North Loop. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, fellas, I know that it's perhaps a subject that you don't want to get into, but I'm going to push you into it. I'm going to make you face this deal, right? If you are low energy, and if that low energy level has found its way into your bedroom activities, and I know that's personal and private information, but let's deal with this. Let's get to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Let's find one of the qualified urologists at the Tennessee Men's Clinic in one of their 4 separate Middle Tennessee locations, Clarksville, Murfreesboro, Cool Springs, and Nashville. And let's get this settled. This could be behind you, man. And all it takes is a telephone call and scheduling that appointment for less than $100, $99. You get a consultation. You'll get blood work. They'll figure out what's going on in your body. Is it testosterone levels? We don't know. We need to find out. We need to find out what's going on, and then they're going to create a plan of success, a plan of action for you to get you back in the game, man, and that's what it's all about. This is 2026. It's not 1976. Let's quit whistling past this graveyard and get it done with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com to find out more, or better yet, make the call and make the appointment today. Wait no longer, men. It's time. 615-208-9090, 208-9090 for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Hi, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and let's talk about Genesis Diamonds. Mother's Day, Mother's Day, Mother's Day. For the lady in your life, if she is mama, she deserves something special from Genesis Diamonds, and now is the time to get it done. Friends, I understand. Oh, well, Mama's Day, we'll just get her some flowers. Oh, that's nice. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that special? She will not remember those flowers after they go, but she will remember a beautiful, exquisite pendant or a sparkling diamond set of earrings or a stunning colored gemstone for years to come, for the rest of her life. Each one of these is hand-selected and designed to last not just this year, but for decades of birthdays and anniversaries and days to come. And Genesis has the gift that can make the statement, men, you need to check this out. This year, Genesis has added a half-price vault. So you get all of the gemstone at half the price, all at an incredible 50% off savings. So this Mother's Day, give her more than just a casual gift. Give her something that she will cherish and wear close to her heart forever, every single day. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs. Be sure to tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Genesis. All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am informed by Jackson. Jackson's always on top of making sure that I understand that it's time for Nink-a-poops in the news. The day Ken, I can tell. You know what I'm about to say.
Yes, I do.
The day after the king was crowned.
You should have. He's like my grandpa used to say, he's grinning like a mule eating briars. Oh, the king was crowned. It's time for Nink-a-poops, y'all. It's time to play. So far, Ken Weaver has won a day.
I've had the crown for 2 consecutive weeks.
He has. Ken Weaver's got the crown. Murphy won day on Monday. I won on Monday. You won yesterday. Ken, you got some work to do to keep it, brother.
I'm going to do it today. I got a good one.
Let's find out. It's time. Ryan, hit that button and let's go. It's time for Nink-a-poops in the news. Thank you, Brother Dixon. It's Nink-a-poops in the news time. You know what the real news is. You've heard Ken Weaver talk about the news. You've heard Matt Murphy opine on said same. Now it is time to look all over the volunteer state of Tennessee, all across these United States of America, nay, the globe. And we find those Nink-a-poops where they live and where they breathe, and we bring them to you. And on these Wednesdays, it's a very special edition of Nink-a-poops in the news because typically Cameron Smith participates. Now, look at that big trophy back there in the background. Boy, he is showing that thing off.
I mean, it gets shinier whenever it's where it's supposed to be in News Closet B. See that shine?
The news closet is where the trophy is supposed to be.
Yes.
That's what Ken Weaver says. What do you say about that, Jackson?
We'll see. You ready for the order for today?
You going to do your smack talking on the field? Yes, I'm ready for the order.
Williams, Murphy, Weaver, Smith.
Going to make Cameron go last.
See, it's a kindness that he's doing because Cameron never starts looking for his story until the segment starts.
Right. Did you already do the dog bite one?
Probably. But
maybe I should look that up right quick.
Yeah, dog bite one.
Then I'm doing it.
Is it a good one?
It is.
Is it solid?
It's an Alabama man.
Okay.
I've got a
we
Florida
got 3
man.
contestants or 4?
We got four, Ryan. We've got Young Jackson is going first. Murphy's going second. Ken's going third. Smith is going last. Jackson. Hey, Jackson.
Yes.
You're Nink-a-poop, sir.
Thank you. Altamonte Springs woman arrested after feces vandalism incidents in Spring Oaks neighborhood.
What was that first word again?
Altamonte?
Don't focus on it. People vote for him just because he mispronounces it. I swear
doing it on purpose.
He got votes yesterday just because he couldn't pronounce the words.
No, that was 2 days ago.
That's good. Okay.
Police say suspect linked to at least one case as residents report multiple incidents involving vehicles, yards, and mailboxes. A woman is accused of defacing property with human feces in an Altamonte Springs neighborhood and has been arrested, police say. Investigators with the Altamonte Springs Police Department say 50-year-old Alexis Weber was taken into custody Tuesday morning on a charge of criminal mischief after being linked to at least one incident in the Spring Oaks neighborhood.
Where was she?
Altamonte Springs.
I don't
don't know what it is.
Residents say the incidents have been happening for nearly a week, with homeowners discovering what appeared to be human feces on vehicles, mailboxes, and in yards.
How do they know?
Yuck.
How do they know that it? How do they know that it's human?
I don't know. Yvette Gomez said her family contacted police last Thursday after finding feces smeared along the driver's side of her husband's work van.
Oh, no.
My husband texted me and said that his work van is full of bleep. Gomez said, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, there's poop on my van. And I just couldn't believe it. Gomez said she provided investigators with surveillance video that appears to show a person matching Weber's description stopping near the vehicle. She added that she has seen Weber multiple times while she exercises in the neighborhood. When I look back through my camera, guess what? That is she. That's a quote from Gomez.
Gomez from Southern Altamonte?
Yes.
Okay.
Neighbors said the vandalism was not limited to one incident. Some residents reported finding feces near a shared food pantry in the neighborhood over the weekend. Crap all over, one resident said. Whoever did this is probably a disgusting person, and I was very shocked. Police said a detective witnessed Weber defecating in the front yard of her home early Tuesday before placing her under arrest in connection with the vehicle incident.
Ma'am, you're gonna have to go to jail.
The Spring Oaks HOA Vice President John Battle said residents worked together to report the incidents and involve law enforcement. And if you call and say someone is doing this on your car, it's Florida. You aren't going to believe it. Battle said. No one at the home where police said she was arrested responded when this news crew pulled up later yesterday.
I feel like this woman might be one of those jogger poopers.
She's an nincompoop.
She's certainly a nincompoop.
She was doing it in her own yard, too.
Yeah, that's what cracked me up. They caught her doing it in her own yard.
You know what? I don't think she's a vandal. I think she's just a free-range pooper.
Well, there are those people.
It's like cage-free eggs.
Except it's poop.
Cage-free crap?
The jogger poopers fascinate me because they're jogging along and they're doing their thing. But I get it. They're far away from home.
Yeah.
And so they just hide behind some bushes and take care of business, and off they go. And it's nasty, but it is what it is. But
she was just in her front yard.
Yeah, that's weird.
Squatting.
That's weird. I guess it's my turn. Paddock Lake, Wisconsin. Multiple customers are now claiming that they found worms inside of drinks purchased from a Paddock Lake McDonald's, prompting a Kenosha County public health inspection that confirmed customer complaints and forced the drive-through beverage machine out of service. The issue first surfaced publicly when a customer posted photos of what appears to be a large red worm inside of a clear soda. The customer wrote that a child had already consumed a good portion of the drink before the worm was discovered. Well, I guess finding a worm in your soda is better than finding half a worm. Huh? Yeah, I've never heard the joke. What's worse than finding a worm in your apple? Finding a half a worm? Yeah.
Half of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say crap in your front yard.
Well, I was thinking, poop in your soda. That's even worse.
That's fair. If this had happened in Altamonte Vista or whatever the hell, what was it?
Altamonte Springs.
Oh,
also known as Altamont Springs, but,
I like the Monte. It gives it a
gravitas.
Thank you, Ken.
It's incorrect.
I just like that it Altamonte. It's not an A. Anyway.
Look, Jackson speaks American. Shut it.
The issue first surfaced publicly when the customer complained. I said that part. The customer wrote that a child had already consumed part of the drink before the worm was discovered, describing the situation as, quote, extremely disgusting. Images show the worm inside of the cup amongst ice and a straw. I have these images. Additional commentators quickly came forward claiming that they had had similar experiences at the very same location. One individual stated, the same bleep happened to me this morning, calling the health department. Another said that they experienced the same issue earlier in the week. These complaints appear to align with the findings of the Kenosha County Public Health Inspection, which was conducted April 27th of 2026, just 2 days ago. According to the official report, inspectors responded directly to several customer complaints regarding worms inside of beverages. And they confirmed, I know, it's disgusting. During the inspection, they identified, quote, significant issue with the area of the drive-through soda machine and ice machine. The report stated that Tiles beneath the machine were damaged. The unit had to be taken out of service, or had been taken out of service prior to the inspection. Management told inspectors the affected machine was discontinued, yet they continue to serve customers in every other way. And for that fact, I'm calling the Kenosha McDonald's as full of a bunch of Nink-a-poops. And that's that. Ken Weaver.
Mine's out of New Delhi, India. A man dug up his sister's body, carried it to a bank branch to prove she was dead after being refused access to her account without a death certificate. Angered by being turned away because he didn't have her death certificate, Munda, I guess that's his name, returned to the branch carrying the human remains of his sister who had been buried just days earlier.
Flop.
Television networks broadcast footage of Munda carrying what appeared to be a corpse, partially wrapped in plastic with skeletal legs visible and slung over his shoulder. The bank said this created a highly distressing situation.
I bet.
The bank goes on to say the claim will be settled on priority once the death certificate is submitted. Registration of births and deaths is mandatory in India, but gaps in documentation persist, particularly in rural areas, leaving many families without formal certificates.
I give the man a certificate.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think he deserves a certificate. I almost did the same thing with my grandpa. True story.
You carried him to the bank?
My grandfather had $2,300 in his bank account when he died. It was going to cost over $1,000 to probate his will. I was the executor of the will. I was the sole beneficiary of the will. I was his power of attorney, which only exists until the point that he died.
Right.
And I went to the bank to close his account. And they said, you can't close the account without a probated will. I was like, I'm not probating his will. I just want to close the account. They said, well, you're not allowed to do that because we don't have any proof of death. I said, well, if you don't have any proof of death, then as far as you're concerned, he's still alive. They said, yes. I said, well, I'm the power of attorney then, and I can write checks. And I wrote a check for the entire amount, save 5 cents of the account, took the cash out, and said, see ya. Wouldn't want to be.
That's the way to go, Brother Murphy.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's really good.
And so right now there's an account open with my grandpa's name on it that has 5 cents in it, and I hope it's accruing interest.
Yeah. In 1,000 years, it'll be worth like $5.
Yeah. Let's go. So I like your story, Ken. I'm voting for Ken today.
Yay!
That's good.
That story was better than my worm deal. Oh, well, unless Cameron's is better. Cameron still gets to go.
All right.
I feel like there's a... Don't look at me that way, pooper. Go ahead.
Culliver was not involved in the investigation and inserted himself into the situation, the department said in a Facebook post. He became belligerent, yelled at officers, and stepped into an active roadway with flowing traffic. In the active body camera footage, Culliver is seen walking up to officers several times, seemingly intoxicating, and has several exchanges with them. Officer 1 asked Culliver if he needs to go to jail for DUI, and Culliver responds by saying, I need to go to jail for kicking your bleat. None of the officers indicated Culliver to be a threat during this encounter, and he is unarmed. The video goes forward, and he's ultimately arrested. Culliver asks why he's being arrested, and then he struggles as 4 officers surround him. The canine officer shows him behind the 4 officials, telling him to watch out or they'll get bit. As one officer holds Culliver's upper body and another holds his legs, the dog is commanded to bite him.
Yeah.
Culliver grabs the dog's leg as he is being bitten, and several officers strike him in the head and upper body before he lets go. Let go of my dog, Officer 2 said. Your dog got me, Culliver responded. This is when Culliver bites the dog.
Oh, no.
And
Wow.
struck several more times before eventually being handcuffed by police.
Yeah.
The incident has been thoroughly reviewed, and the use of force applied has been determined to be justified.
Yes,
Florence police said. So Culliver has a $2,500 bond and is charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, public intoxication, and interfering with a police dog.
What he said, the guy said, you're going to jail for DUI?
Yeah, and he said, I'm going to jail for
whipping your butt.
Yeah, very much.
Oh, I love that. That's good.
Don't
Well,
bite the police dog.
Don't bite the police dog.
I think they ought to give that canine officer 5 minutes alone with Culliver.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I can't help. I love the. I always worry that they're going to do something mean to the dog. I always worry, but in those videos where they release the police dog, you want to see a suspect give up quick.
Yes, sir.
Quick.
Those teeth get your attention.
Oh, 100. Yeah. Come out from under the house or we're going to release the dog. Come out from under the house or we're going to release the dog. Come out. They say it like 20 times. They don't come. They release the dog. Ah!
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think we were lying about it? 1960 says, this is by far the grossest episode of Nink-a-poops ever. We're eating dinner, guys.
Uh-oh.
My bad. I hope y'all are having bologna. That's how we
Yes,
play
sir.
Nink-a-poops in the news. Hit the sounder there, Ryan, as we wrap things up. You can vote for Jackson Williams. You can vote for Ken Weaver.
Do that.
There we go. You can vote for Cameron Smith. Or you can vote for the host of this radio show, Matt Murphy. Anything to say there, Cameron?
Vote for me. I'm not Cameron.
Oh, I couldn't think. The music was very, very loud. All right, Cameron, he's Jackson, he's Ken. My name is Matt. I'll try to get all of that straight, and we'll be back in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Vote for me. There are two types of insurance agencies, friends, one that sell policies and one that protects businesses. At King & Associates Insurance, they take a slightly different approach. Before they quote you anything, they analyze your exposure, your contracts, your liability risk, your workers' compensation, your coverage gaps most agents miss. Because when a claim happens, the difference isn't price, it's whether you're covered or not. From contractors to professional services to local businesses across the state of Tennessee, they help business owners make informed decisions, not rushed decisions. If you want a second opinion on your current coverage, they will review it, explain it, and show you exactly where you stand. No pressure. Just clarity at King & Associates Insurance. It's just one of the many things that they do at King & Associates Insurance that sets them apart from everyone else on the marketplace today. Whether it's life insurance, auto, home, or commercial insurance, your one-stop shop is King & Associates Insurance. 615-329-8121, 329-8121, or letter T, kinginsurance.com, kinginsurance.com.
At least one tornado confirmed to have touched down in Middle Tennessee early yesterday morning, and U.S. Senator and gubernatorial candidate Marsha Blackburn calling for Tennessee lawmakers to reconvene and redraw congressional maps. We'll tell you about it at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. He's got those headlines. He'll deliver those to you in just a moment or two. We'll get back into this voting rights decision on the part of the United States Supreme Court. Leave it to the Democrats, because the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court voted against racial gerrymandering. That was what the 6-3 vote indicated, that you are not permitted to gerrymander based on the race of individual constituencies. And yet the Democrats are claiming, well, Raphael Warnock from Georgia, Trump's Supreme Court is dragging us back to the dark and ugly days of Jim Crow. The dark and ugly days of Jim Crow allowed and disallowed voting specifically based on the race of one's skin, or the color of one's skin, or the race, or the ethnicity of individuals. And this court specifically says that you're not allowed to draw district lines nor permit or prevent voting based on those characteristics, those immutable characteristics or protected classes. Yet the Democrats somehow are against this. We shall discuss. And what would it mean for the state of Tennessee to try to score a 9th seat for Republicans and scoop up Memphis? It's a little bit harder than you think. And I think you're putting other districts at risk if you try to scoop Cohen's district up. More on that coming up in the final hour of the show. Logan, we'll get to you in a moment. You'll be first up as well as we continue on the Murphy Show. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
When we come back, 6:05.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Middle Tennessee, the National Weather Service confirming an EF1 tornado with 95-mile-per-hour wind touched down in Davidson and Robertson counties early yesterday morning. Channel 4 talked to neighbors who are helping a couple who lost their home near Songhouse venue in Goodlettsville.
This is months of cleanup for sure.
How are they holding up?
It's unfortunate, but they're in good spirits, that's for sure. You know, it's very unfortunate, but they haven't had anything like this. They said, I don't know how long they've been here. I know 30-plus years, and they've never had a scare like this, let alone, a tornado come through and actually hit their property.
Now, that tornado was on the ground for about 2 minutes. Fortunately, no injuries reported, and we have learned that the National Weather Service has ruled out any tornadoes in Lawrence County where there was damage and at least 2 people injured. U.S. Senator and gubernatorial candidate Marsha Blackburn and Republican Congressman and gubernatorial candidate John Rose is calling for Tennessee lawmakers to reconvene and redraw congressional maps that could create another Republican-leaning seat in Memphis. Blackburn cites the new U.S. Supreme Court ruling that says Louisiana relied too heavily on race when it created a second-majority black congressional district, and Republican Congressman John Rose echoing that call, saying the decision opens the door for redistricting. Meanwhile, Democratic leaders argued this proposal would reduce minority representation and call it discriminatory. Here in Nashville, Channel 4's Brendan Tierney says Mayor O'Connell's State of Metro address focused heavily on affordability.
In his State of Metro address, O'Connell tied his vision directly to the cost of living. He told the crowd of city leaders that people can't feel safe and create a better community if they can't afford to live here. One of the biggest proposals is cutting the grocery tax by half a cent. That would save a family of 4 around $72 per year.
And the mayor promised investments and deregulation to allow more child cares to bring down costs for working families. Right now in our nation's capital, the Pentagon trying to sell a $1.5 trillion request for fiscal year 2027. Critics questioning the reason for the Iran war. And here you'll hear Jay Hurst, the comptroller for the Pentagon, being asked how much that war has costed taxpayers so far.
So approximately at this day, we're spending about $25 billion on Operation Epic Fury. Most of that is munitions. There's part of that is obviously O&M and equipment replacement.
And the Federal Reserve today leaving interest rates unchanged in a range between 3.5% and 3.75%. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Still showing a crash 40 eastbound just past of Fessler's Lane. Also a crash Old Hickory Boulevard at Nolensville Pike. A crash Charlotte Avenue west of I-40. And then a stalled vehicle, the on-ramp partially blocked. 40 westbound on-ramp from Donaldson Pike over by B&A. And then a stalled vehicle in Murfreesboro, right shoulder block. 24 eastbound at Medical Center Parkway. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time is flying. It is already hour number 4, the Matt Murphy Show. I'm pleased you've decided to join us for at least a portion of it. We thank you for being here, whatever time you're able to give us. We're certainly appreciative. I'd love it if you had an opportunity to give us a call, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Call us up or hit us up on the Super Text line, and we will take it from there. Speaking of calling us up, Logan's been holding for some time. I appreciate your patience, Logan, and I want to get right to you in hour number 4. Thank you for being on the Matt Murphy Show. Good afternoon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. And first of all, shout out to Ken with the story there. I think that is the winner for me. And it should have said headline, this is what voters look like in California these days, is taking their parents to the voting polls. But anyways, I'm calling about going back to the earlier conversation with school and Nat, how you were bringing up how you're funding, basically other kids in the school system. And I agree. It's not your responsibility. I've got little kids, and one thing that I feel like that is not really getting talked about, or maybe I'm missing it, is the homeschool community. My wife and I homeschool our kids, and that burden is on us to take care of them. And I don't know, I would love to see some type of like tax break or some benefit, because it's not the government's problem to raise our children. In my opinion, it's ours, and I'm going to give them a better curriculum probably than what they're getting in public schools. So, I would love to have that.
Well, I think at the time that the debate was going on about the Education Freedom Scholarship, I believe homeschoolers, specifically the associations around homeschool, they wanted to be carved out from the legislation altogether, because the fear was that if the government has some ability to give them a payment, that the government would then assert their will in terms of testing and grading and standardized policies that the homeschool community did not seem to want. I think I have that correct.
Yeah, and I'm not asking for a handout or money. I don't want government's money, because we're going to pay for it in taxes. But seeing what, my brother-in-law lives in Texas, and they get great tax benefits or tax breaks, essentially, with being a homeschool community and homeschool family. So I agree, less government overreach, but I'd love to see somebody kind of spearhead the homeschool kind of, I think parents raising their own kids is going to be better than the government. So,
well, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm on record as saying that I think at this point, parents would be better served if public education did not exist and got replaced with all privatized educational opportunities, and parents could receive some sort of supplement from the government in terms of tax abatements or even monetary payments. That, if we took the $12,000 thereabouts that's going to each Tennessee publicly educated student and gave it to the parents and gave the parents an opportunity to send their kids to private school with that money. Now, I understand that it wouldn't cover every private school tuition, but it would go a long way into covering most of them, especially if you infused a level of competition within that system, the private system. I think you would see even more and more opportunities for private schools to excel. But then, the argument against that is that then the private schools become the de facto public education system, and but at least you're resetting the system. On your point, Logan, on in terms of tax abatement, I just don't know where that would go. I mean, and I know that's not the point of your call necessarily, but like if you choose to homeschool your kids, how do you get a tax abatement when we're not paying income tax? I suppose you get a property tax abatement, but then wouldn't Matt Murphy argue because I don't have any kids that I'm owed that same abatement to?
Yeah, no, that's a great point for sure. I mean, I think all points need to be brought up,
right?
And I agree with you. Why are you paying for other people's kids? So.
Well, and it's one of the reasons that I try to speak up. My role I look at my role in this. Number one, I mean, I think we all benefit from a well-educated population, right? So we're all going to benefit if we see success in these public education arenas or private education arenas or for homeschoolers. I'm all about that. And there is a socialization to that I can accept if I saw the schools excelling, and by extension, the kids excelling. I don't. And so I feel compelled, and I feel that someone needs to speak up for the taxpayer, right? And so what the lawmakers have done, they've recognized that there are certain segments and sectors of the public education system that are not a fit or that fail in some form or fashion. And so they want to provide other choices and other opportunities for the parents. I'm all about that. The reason that I supported the Education Freedom Scholarship year one was because I believe that parents should have every opportunity to send their kids to an educational, down an educational avenue of their choosing that's going to better their children. But the only way that I would agree to it is if I believed that it would also benefit the public school system by infusing a level of competition within the school system and doing what that system claims that it wants, and that is that we need the same amount of money and fewer students in order to better educate those students. And I don't see that going on right now, and that's my concern.
What's your timeline? Because I know there was somebody arguing with you earlier, like you flip-flopped, and I'm like, man, just shut up and listen. But what would be your timeline? I mean, we hit year one. We kind of saw. Would that be another year for you to see, how things are going? Or?
I would have been more comfortable with a 2-year time frame on the 20,000 scholarships. Let's see, and give me some tracking data on the kids that are moving from one system to the next. Give me some data on, are they moving from public to private? Are they moving private to private? I want to know the income levels of these kids. Who are we most benefiting? Because I think all of that matters. All of that data matters to me. And when I ask for that data, a lot of the lawmakers say, well, these are privacy concerns, or we don't want to get into that, or what does it matter what income levels these parents are at?
But it's the numbers. You're not asking for their socials.
Right. I just want the basic.
Legitimate.
Yeah, I just want the basic data. But I'd be willing to give it a little more time. And that's what, and I like Scott Sapicki a lot. I think he's very knowledgeable on education in this state. And what Sapicki has said is like, Murphy, this in conjunction with some of the other things that we're doing to improve education in the state, give me 3 years and tell me what you think then. And I'm fine with that. I just don't want to continue to expand the program before we truly know that the program's successful.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's fair.
Appreciate what you guys do. Appreciate the time. And
yeah, man.
You guys have a great rest of the day.
Logan, thank you for holding. What a great telephone call. And I appreciate the fact that you are invested in your children's education to the point that you've decided to educate them at home. God bless you for doing that. Doing so, understanding the time commitment, the monetary commitment, and the fact that you're not getting anything back for that except the knowledge that you're doing best by your children. And all of you homeschoolers should know how much you're appreciated, because I understand. I think I have a grasp of why you're doing what you're doing and why it's so important to you. And you understand, you get it. I mean, I understand too. It's important to me. Educate. Someone asked me, we were discussing this, I guess it was last year when we were debating the Education Freedom Scholarship, and there was a caller or a super texter that kind of challenged me, and I appreciate this. I'm not against it, but they're like, why is a guy with no kids so damn invested in public education? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one, I want the state to be good stewards of my tax dollars. Number two, we watch as the public education system has slowly disintegrated around us over the last 4 decades, to the point that America is not really, number one in anything anymore when it comes to education. From a worldwide perspective, there are better pockets than others. But only if we have an educated population, only if we insist that our young people get those opportunities, will we see an America that is successful down the road. I think about the future of my nieces and my nephews. While I don't have children, obviously there are younger people in our family that I worry about. I worry about what type of country we're leaving for them, and I worry about what type of country we're leaving for your children and your grandchildren. So holistically, it concerns me. But more specific to the point and to now, I just want to make sure that they're spending my tax dollars in a way that is consistent with my values and what they claim to be spending the money on. So that's my investment point, right? And sadly, the public sector, government-run anything. I mean, tell me what government does better than the private sector.
Spend money.
Cameron came back into the conversation. Look at there. Cameron's been quiet over there until I say that. Yeah, that is the correct answer. The government has an ability to spend, and I would add waste money, more than you and I ever could. So anytime you empower the government to do something like this, you have to be a constant watchdog on that government entity. Otherwise, it is going to be corrupted because individuals that are interested and invested in grift and graft and corruption, they gravitate to where the money is, and the money is in government, right? And the government isn't designed to be efficient. It is designed to be bureaucratic by its nature. And so you got to watch against that too. 17 minutes after the hour. Tell you what, quick timeout. When we return, Cameron and I are going to break down the possibilities of turning Tennessee all red, eliminating that dangly little district over there in Memphis, currently occupied as a congressional seat by Steve Cohen, and flipping that thing red. What does that mean? How easy would that be? Not as easy as you think. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. And when I talk to you about the Wellness Institute of Nashville, you know, you're getting innovators. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of the team, they are constantly searching for the next great thing in medical technology to help alleviate your pain. It's always about you. It's always about alleviating that pain. It's always about doing so without having to depend on pills, without having to rely on shots that might block the pain, and certainly without having to consider surgery. It's what they do. Like right now, they've got the Epic Spinal Special, $33 off every visit. Epic Healing in terms of spinal decompression with no surgery, no injections, no painkillers, no downtime. And now Medical Bay 1 is the brand new technology that has been created by Dr. Mitchell himself. Cells underneath our skin respond to photon light. Medical Bay 1 is a futuristic healing machine. Massages your body while doing so with full lasers. That's red light therapy, including NIR, near infrared, that adds stem cell stimulation for tissue regeneration. This is a fancy way of saying you heal faster, you regenerate faster, and you are pain-free. That's what it's all about, being pain-free in 2026. Painisbad.com, painisbad.com, or 615-246-5009, 246-5009 for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Hello, friends. That's a very abrupt end to that spot, and it's time for me to say hello to you and to encourage you to get over to U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest offers full-service protection against all those things that want in your home. They want to steal your food. They want to take your AC and use it for their own purposes. The purpose of pest control is simple. The very existence of pest control can be found in the value of preventing insect and rodent-borne diseases. Besides that, these are just nasty, creepy crawlies that you don't want anywhere close to your house. Full-service pest control, termite protection, and crawl-space service can be yours at U.S. Pest. Common Tennessee pests include spiders, stink bugs, ants, ladybugs, silverfish, roaches, brown recluse spiders. Did I mention spiders? Ticks, fleas, fire ants, and much, much more. Eliminate all of these with U.S. Pest. Your protection begins with a telephone call, and that starts the process by which they come out and offer you a free pest and termite inspection. If you currently have a pest control company and you're not satisfied, or if you don't, it's time to call U.S. Pest. Start the journey online at uspest.com, uspest.com, or call 590-1260, 590-1260 for our friends at U.S. Pest. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I can always tell who's winning Nink-a-poops in the news by the look on Jackson Williams' face, and Jackson does not look very happy right now.
No, I'm very pleased because I believe, there was a death. Nobody can die in Nink-a-poops.
They didn't.
Well, they did.
She was already dead.
Okay, everybody. All right, is Ken back there? Is Ken back there, Ryan?
He's flown the coop.
Oh, Ken has flown the coop. Okay, all right. So currently, Williams is losing to Weaver. It's Weaver, Williams, and Murphy and Smith we're as the saying goes, we're sucking hind to teat.
That's weird. You can do that. I don't think I want to.
Well, that's what we're doing, both of us.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, you can choose not to, and then you're the runt of the litter. One way or the other. We'll note this. Is there a challenge flag on the play? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
You've thrown the challenge flag. Okay.
Well, as the referee of all challenge flags, which I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know if you're aware.
The death did not occur during the Nincompooperi. The death had already occurred prior.
But people can't die in Nincompoops.
They didn't. His sister did not die. She was already dead. That was not an active death.
So the question then becomes, if I were to bring up a hypothetical scenario. So if we had a situation where, let's say, for example, at a funeral, there was some sort of shenanigans or, should I say, nincompoopery ensues.
Yeah.
Would that be off the table because the site of the nincompooperi was at a funeral that had nothing to do with nincompooperi in question?
Yeah, that's completely legitimate. Because it is not the killing of the slaying is not integral to the story. You're just there.
So I feel like Cameron is less the judge, jury, and executioner and more the prosecutor or the defender, I guess, in this case, arguing in favor of Weaver. Gentlemen, I've heard your arguments. We're going to take these things under advisement, and we're going to make a determination after. This may be a, dare I say, moot point, as Jackson Williams might come out successful one way or the other. So we're going to tally up these votes and take your appeal under advisement. What happens if we try to get district number 9?
This is interesting. So I pulled up what's called the partisan voting index. And basically they look at it and see what's the margin in the district in terms of percentage point more Republican or Democratic. The 9th is a D plus 23. That is what's called a solid Democratic district.
Sure.
Actually, in Tennessee, there's only 3 plus, 20 plus districts, and that's the first, which is Harshbarger's over in East Tennessee. It's R plus 29. Kustoff is an R plus 21, and the 8th, which borders the 9th, and that's plus 23.
And Kustoff is probably plus 21, in part because of the way the districts have been drawn.
Right.
And those two, 9 and 8, are going to go kind of hand in hand with regard.
So here's the issue, and I misspoke. Descharlet is R plus 21, so right there with Kustoff. And this is a rough way to do it, but if you eat all 23 points of that 9th, that's a break-even district, right? It's a true toss-up, right? So you don't really want a toss-up because...
You want to get to a +5 at least?
Yeah, +5, +8. Like, we're feeling good at +8. Most of the guys do not want anything less than a +8 because when you're +5, it can get to a toss-up pretty fast, right? That is a leans zone. The tightest one in Tennessee is actually my district, which is represented by Andy Ogles, which is an R plus 8.
That's my district too.
And people don't realize that, like, Van Epps is an R plus 10. So the Middle Tennessee ones, they're already, and part of that's because of what happened with the 5th, right?
Right.
So it was redrawn. Well, now you're going to do that same process again with
What's 6, by the way, just out of
6 is R plus 17. That's John Rose's district that Johnny Garrett's running for.
Right.
And
so you'd have to take from 8. You'd have to somehow take from 6. You can't really take from 5.
But here's the problem, is that we're not going to hop over districts, right? So you got to find a way just you got to sort of bite a little bit. So 9th eats into 8th, which is Kustoff's district.
Sure.
That eats into 7th, which is Van Epps. Now Van Epps is sort of sitting there saying, whoa, wait a minute, guys, I'm
you got to give 7 some of the 6.
Right.
So that you can give 8 some of the 7. Right. So you can shove a bunch of 8 into 9 and you get some 9 back on 8. And then you got to get.
It's like dominoes.
Yeah.
And so what's really annoying here is it's doable, but let's say you have to, like, it's just a math problem that if you look at the D plus 23, let's say we have 30 points of Democrat that we've got to move around. Okay? So, and I got to give it to areas that are pretty close. I got to now start moving and really ripping the whole map towards Memphis, because
you have to do what you've seen the Virginia map. You kind of have to do what they did with the Virginia map, where everything starts in Memphis and flows out.
Yes. It's the pizza pie model that we did with Nashville, basically. The Republicans did with Nashville.
Right.
But the problem is Memphis is in the dang corner of the state.
That's what I'm saying. You got to everything goes to that point, and then you got to.
Right. And the challenge for Republicans is going to be that the Voting Rights Act, much to Democratic chagrin, did not go away. And so they're going to have to be like, we drew this district, and it looks completely insane, but it's not an unconstitutional gerrymander.
Well, I don't have such an issue with insanity in terms of district lines because, you lived in Alabama for a period of time. I lived there for a little longer than you did, and I watched the 7th Congressional District. And that district was just a mess.
Right.
And it was a mess because the courts demanded that district be a majority district.
Right.
And so you had to finagle around Birmingham, and you had to keep it out of the white suburbs, and you had to get it down into Selma, Alabama, and it was like a damn snake.
Well, Tennessee is going to be an actual sort of, I think, a trial balloon for this, because in Memphis, you have the perfect majority-minority district. And what I mean by that is it passes all of the tests that are required. It's voting as a block. It is contiguous, meaning it's all connected. It's compact. It's a very, very tight number of voters. And the argument that Republicans are going to make is, yeah, there's a lot of Democratic voters, and we're trying to break up the Democratic district. Completely legitimate. What Democrats are going to say is, you have a nucleus of black voters. You're doing this as impermissible racial gerrymandering. And I think what's happened now is the court has shifted everything to the plaintiffs, which would be the Democrats in this case, to prove their case.
Right, because my argument would be it is racially presumptive and even bigoted to suggest that because you are black, you are automatically a Democrat.
Right.
And our goal is not to prevent any black person from voting in any individual district. Our purpose is to create 9 red districts.
Right.
Because we're in the majority, and that's our desire.
And basically, Democrats would sue, and they would say that you did this based on race, and then Republicans would have to show the receipts and say, no, we actually know that Democrats are concentrated here, 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 and here, and that's where we pulled it from.
It is a lot easier to do that in Nashville because of racial demographics, and they were successful. And I think there was a challenge. I don't even think there was a challenge to the congressional districts. They challenged some of the state redrawing of lines. I don't think they challenged.
No,
they challenged in Alabama, and they won. The Democrats won in Alabama, if you remember.
It was because there's actually more black people in Alabama. That's why.
Than in Tennessee.
It's because they're in the middle of Tennessee. You have what would we call a coalition minority district, but that just means you just combine different races that aren't white, which is, you can't do that under Voting Rights Act. So that's the reason that Memphis is one of those areas where all the Voting Rights Act tests for these majority minorities are right there, and we'll see.
We got Megan on the line. We got Karen on the line. Not necessarily in that order, but probably. It's 32 after the hour. Right now, we've got news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here for Better Water. Everybody wants better water, right? Well, what are you doing to achieve that which you say you want? What about a water filtration system from Better Water LLC? Now, that's getting it done. Friends, I did just that. I called Better Water when I moved into my new house, and my friends at Better Water came on down. Robert was in the house. He was checking it out. He gave us a comprehensive water exam. He checked for sulfur and iron and chlorine and bacteria and E. coli and everything else. And he said, Murphy, for the most part, you're doing pretty good. I would not recommend a home system, but I would recommend an under-the-sink reverse osmosis unit to make sure that the branch coming out of your faucet is nice and clean. He noticed that I like a little brown water with some ice cubes and a little water to it. He said, this is going to be perfect for you, and that's exactly what we did. They recommend that what you need, nothing more. Specialized filters, UV lights, water softeners, you name it, they do it. They're based out of Smyrna, and they're great at what they do. Same guys that treat the hospitals, same guys that treat the coffee shop, they can treat your home as well. Go to betterwater.com to learn more. Betterwater.com, or better yet, give them a call and tell them I sent you. 615-355-6063. 355-6063 for Better Water LLC. Friends, what if I asked you this question? Where is the largest Browning safe dealer in, well, the world? The world. The universe. You might think, oh, it's one of those big old, maybe New York City or, Houston, Texas or wherever. No, it's right here in Nashville. It's right here in our backyard. It's Nashville Safe House. Where you been? They are the largest Browning safe dealer in the United States of America, meaning they have more Brownings, they sell more Brownings, they've got more rebates, they have exclusive details and offers that no one else can get. And oh, by the way, not to mention they've got more safes than you can shake 3 sticks at. Browning, Fort Knox, Champion, Superior, Rhino, all available for you on 4th Avenue South. Friends, they have all of these other guys. I call them the imitators because I'm not afraid to do that kind of thing. All of these imitators, you put every safe that they have for every single one of them together, and they do not match the selection of Nashville Safe House. Why does that matter to you? Because with that level of inventory, they've got better rebates, they've got a better selection, they've got exactly what you're looking for, and one of those professional delivery crews will deliver it right to your home. You don't have to worry about third parties entering your home. It's all about you at Nashville Safe House. Plus, gun safes are sales tax free always at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafehouse.com, NashvilleSafehouse.com, and shop online, or better yet, shop in person. They're right across the street from City Cemetery, 4th Avenue South. Tell them I sent you to Nashville Safe House. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. More of your calls on the way. Cameron Smith with us until 7. Matt Murphy here until said time. Young Jackson is looking rather despondent in the control, not the control area, in the studio area. I don't necessarily know why, except to say that there's some question about who's going to win Nink-a-poops today. But here's the nice thing. If Weaver wins today, then it's a 3-way split. I'm not here on Friday.
So tomorrow's for all the marbles.
So tomorrow, that means tomorrow's for all.
Should have saved my poo story.
I can't believe that your poo story is being beat out by the corpse lady at the bank.
Well, after we go through our appeals process, we have.
Well, the appeals will be. We're gonna have a discussion about all of that in chambers. That said, just to let you know, if I were a voting man, and I can't vote, I was a participant, but if I were a voting man, I would have voted for poo. Just letting you know. Hey, it's Megan's turn. Hey, hello, Megan. How are you?
Y'all, can you hear?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, we got you.
Okay.
Oh, boop, boop. I just heard the boop,
Sorry,
boop.
I think it transferred to my car. I apologize. Well, I am calling back. I called earlier during Representative Stepicki's segment, and first I just want to say, thank you so much to our Tennessee legislature for their investment in our charter sector. I really mean that. I really appreciate their investment there. But I do want to talk about education freedom again, and I want to get Cameron's take. Cameron, you're a private school kid.
Yep.
I was educated just down the road from you at Brentwood High School and got a fabulous education. But, I have to think about how many of our private school kids leave the state for college and what that could do for, just workforce trends for our state. You left the state for college, didn't you?
I did.
So what are your thoughts there? I mean, if we're going to be draining the state of her talent, that seems concerning to me just for the long-term health of Tennessee.
Well, I came back. I mean,
You did.
Yeah,
You did.
So
Now you're just making it worse, Cameron.
They didn't want me elsewhere, and they sent me home.
You came back via stinky old Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
In D.C.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
you did come back, and I'm grateful you did, but we can't say that for every private school student.
Yeah.
So did we just spend $330 million to send a bunch of Tennessee talent out of the state for the next 20 years?
No.
After they graduate?
No.
I mean, like that.
I don't think it's I don't think it's consistent to say that, well, all private school kids leave the state. It's just not true. To say that we are investing in the future regardless.
But we don't track it, Cameron. We're not tracking any of this. And we don't know what the private school kids do because it's not tracked.
Well, I do know what well, so hang on. And I want to, you ask, and I want to answer your question. I think that it's fine to have more information about the program. I agree with Matt and other folks that said, hey, it's important that we have information about the program and information about what schools are doing well. My interest is actually, where are the private schools trying things differently, doing them well, getting good results that we could replicate in the public environment? Because here's what I also know, that the standardized test, that TCAP, that everybody's like, well, everyone needs to take the TCAP. We have to do this. More than half of the students in public schools in Tennessee were taking a test against our own standards, and more than half are failing. They are not proficient at our own standards. And so the idea that we want to create norms to a test we can't even pass suggests we have greater problems. And so I am not against public education. I think
But a lot of kids are passing TCAP. Great, and they're going on to be very successful.
No, I'm telling you, the state's own data says that the majority, like nearly 60%.
I know. I look at the data, Cameron, but we have like the charter sector that I brought up earlier. They're doing it a lot better. They have the innovate. They have the ability to innovate, but they are held to the exact same standards as the public schools because they are a public school.
Sure.
And they have had tremendous success. 44,000 students are in the charter sector.
Okay.
And they're outperforming the public school kids by like 50, 60 days in the classroom.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, Megan?
Because they have the ability to innovate in the classroom. They have to adhere to the TCAP. They all have to administer TCAP. And if they don't, they're at greater scrutiny by our legislature and the general public. If they don't perform, they're closed.
Right.
Like
Why don't we
that,
do that
like-
with public schools, like across the board?
Sure. Why don't we?
That's
Great.
a good.
Why are we throwing $330 million pretty much down the drain per year from how I feel?
Why is it down the drain? Like, it's helping a
because-
lot of families that want to make those choices to send their kids to a different educational environment. Like, what's the problem?
Scott Sapicki said 80% of those scholarships are private school kids getting the private school voucher.
Yeah, that was his. And to be fair, that was just his estimate on other states because we don't have that. And that was part of the reason I didn't support any of the expansion because we don't have. I want to know that data. That's important.
Which I'm not upset about wanting to know the information. Like, that to me is reasonable. And I don't understand. It gives the impression that we're playing hide the ball here.
Right.
And that's not helpful.
Right.
But the idea that we've thrown it down the drain, I personally know a lot of families that were scrapping to make ends meet to send their kids to a better environment because the public school was not working for their kid. And so,
yeah, but it's not fair if we only offer it to 35,000 kids. We have 1 million families in public schools in the state.
So
why only the 35?
So this is the typical Democratic argument that I radically oppose. I want to be real clear why. Is the idea if we can't do everything for everyone, we can do nothing for anyone. That to me is just doesn't follow. If you have the option to help 30,000 students, okay, fine. And I'm even fine with means testing that and saying we're going to help the folks that have the lowest levels of income first.
I have a problem. Here's where I have a problem with it, is that I don't have a problem with spending $7,000 more of my money to give to parents so that they can provide their kids a better educational opportunity, so long as, along with that, I am shown how the other kids who don't have parents that take an engaged role in their children's education, or for whatever reason don't take advantage of these scholarships, or are on a waiting list, like Megan said, and can't do it. I want to know that those kids are being benefited too.
Of course. And I don't believe that.
And if those kids are going to suffer as a result of more of my money being spent to supplement kids that are already going to private school, no, I didn't. At the end of the day, I didn't have the kids. You did.
Right.
So it's your responsibility to educate your children, not mine.
Right. And then the idea of like Social Security and things like that you pay for. If we want to play the game,
you're probably talking to the wrong guy about all that too.
Other folks are going to end up paying for things because that money's gone, right? So it's going to be the future workforce and folks like that.
Well,
so I get it.
The end result.
Y'all, what? Our proficiency rates for public school kids in the state is 38%. We know that if kids are on reading grade level by third grade, they're probably going to prison. We have to pay for this long term. Why would we be supplementing families that already have the means for private school when we literally need to rescue these kids? Because if we
it's
don't,
not a money
we're going to be paying.
Like you've already articulated it. The Democratic answer to public education is more. Like the money is never enough. We need to adequately fund is what every Democrat has ever said for eternity on public education.
But then why are we spending the additional money if it's not a money issue? If those parents are already going to take an active role and engage, if it's not a money issue, then we need to address the real issue, and that is parents aren't being parents to their kids.
I 100% agree with that one when parents are just abandoning. But my point with the education stuff is you've already said the answer. The charter school programs that basically give flexibility in the public setting and don't have these rigid bureaucracies with like very strange policies we've done and failed with for a long time. I wouldn't actually say we need more charter schools. We just need to convert the public schools into charter schools and tell the communities, hey, you know what? You're responsible for the outcomes here. The idea that I got a central office in Nashville that gets to tell the rest of the state, hey, here's how you need to get your education right. I'd just be like, hey, communities, here's your school. Knock it out of the park. Do what you need to do for your kids and your community. I love the idea of local control there. And when you take off some of the guardrails, you're going to get innovation. You're going to get better results. I will say, I have 2 kids in public education right now. I have one that's in a hybrid and 2 that are going to go to private next year. And so we're kind of all over the place. The biggest issue that I see, other than parental engagement, which is number one, is that there's so much restraint in public schools of you can't do this, you have to do that, here's the protocol. Teachers do not have the flexibility, and discipline, even in Williamson County schools, is a huge problem.
Megan, I'll give you the final word.
Well, I know that discipline's an issue in the schools, and I know that we have talented students that are stuck in these public schools with I look at Antioch High School. I think like several of the students over there, well, now they're in ALC, but they're accused murderers. And so I understand that we have bright, talented students in these schools that need to be, in a different environment to get the education they deserve, and to not, spend the entire classroom day on discipline instead of the curriculum and what they need to be learning. So, again, I get back to the proficiency rates. If we don't save these kids by third grade, they are not proficient. They don't care.
They don't catch
They
up.
get to high school and they don't give a shit. We're never catching them up. Sorry, am I kicked off?
Yes, we it's a hard and fast rule that if you say the S bomb, you got to go.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's fine. No, we're good. We got it. It's all good. We're cool. Everybody be cool. Ryan, you're cool. Jackson, you're cool.
I get the passion.
Cameron, you're cool. I do too. And I appreciate it and I respect it. Once again, all I want is the data, because a lot of people are saying, why are we giving money for rich parents to send their kids to private schools that they're already sending their kids to? Look, I understand. And I also understand the argument that there are people that are pounding it and suffering and doing everything that they possibly can because they're not getting the education in the private, or rather the public schools, that they believe they can get elsewhere. There are also parents that, for whatever reason, want their kids out of that public educational opportunity. What I'm saying is I'm willing to spend more money, but I expect to see the data. I want to know where I'm spending my money and how. It's my money. It's not the lawmakers' money. And they hide that. They're doing their best to hide the data, and I don't like it.
Well, and they also need to put a price tag on public schools. Okay? So the idea that public school is free, no, it's not. It is the most expensive failed education you'll ever get.
Amen, brother. Real quick timeout. Karen, we'll try to get to you if we can. 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You hungry? You guys hungry? Y'all getting a little hungry? I'm a little hungry. And you know what I could use? I could use a delicious seasoning sprinkle from Savory Spice to sprinkle over some salmon or some veggies. Oh, it makes everything more delicious. If you're looking to lose a few lbs, I don't talk to you people enough, because let me tell you, losing weight sucks, right? I mean, let's be clear about it. But it sucks a lot less when you get over to Savory Spice, see Holly, David, and the rest of the gang over there, because they've got deliciousness on their shelves that make vegetables better, that make the broccoli and all that better, and that make, the basic proteins that don't have all the fat and all the good stuff in them. They make them better. I mean, so Savory Spice, by that logic, can literally save your life by saving, dropping weight. That's what it's all about. In all seriousness, folks, go to Savory Spice and see the delicious selection. They got gift-giving options. You don't have to pay more to get more. Savory Spice. You up your food game by upping your spice game. You up your spice game at Savory Spice. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about your health. Obviously, I need all the listeners I can get, right? I need you to be here with me on a day-to-day basis. I don't need you to have some issue that might prevent you from doing so. So I need you to do me this favor. You and a loved one, get to Kraft Body Scan and get the couple's heart and lung scan. Do this, and you will thank me later, because the couple's heart and lung scan is simply the best thing you can do as a preventative measure for your health. It's fast, it's easy, it works, it gives you real peace of mind. Here's the deal. Kraft Body Scan is a CT scan. This is not like an MRI where you go in that tube and it's freaking you out and it's all crazy. No. There's you're in a room, you're on a table, there's a big ring around you, so a slender ring, and in about 8 minutes they do the entire scan, and you've got results at your fingertips. How's your heart doing? How's your calcium levels? How are your lungs doing? You will know. Go to togetherwescan.com, put in promo code MATT50. Togetherwescan.com, promo code MATT50. 615-436-1000. 615-436-1000. Do this. Tell them I sent you. And know, you don't have to wonder. Know that everything's okay with your heart and your lungs for $99. It's a $2,500 value. Togetherwescan.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Winding things up, friends. So what is the bottom line on the Supreme Court decision today? Do you support it, I suppose?
Yeah. I think it's the right call. It's the right time. I think it is going to result in states like Tennessee making a run at some of the majority-minority districts and saying, you know what? What we really care about is that the politics are fair here, like that we can go after Democrats,
right?
But we're not doing it on the basis of race.
Well, Democrats have used the fact that they, over a series of years and from a political perspective, they've cobbled together a voting bloc of African-American voters that they feel like they can depend upon. And they've used that for years in the manner in which they do their business as a shield against anyone questioning how they do their business. And we've gotten to a point now where we're beyond some of those racial politics of the 1950s and 1960s enough that I feel like finally the laws are like, you know what, we can be a little more colorblind in our application of the law. And so long as we don't feel like you're discriminating against one because of the color of their skin, you can certainly move forward and discriminate against them based on their political affiliation.
All voters should have the same opportunity at the polls, no more, no less, and not based on race.
Thank you, Cameron, for everything.
Thank you.
We appreciate you as always. And if you've noticed, Cameron's wearing a very fetching top, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
For young Ryan, who is controlling the experience, for young Jackson Williams, who is overseeing the control of said experience. It's kind of a government job. For Ken Weaver, for Cameron Smith, for all of our guests today, Sapicki and Johnny Garrett, etc., we thank you for being a part of this show today. Thursday edition comes tomorrow with an early portion of Friday. That's tomorrow in the 4 o'clock hour, in the 5 o'clock hour. Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton. It's all coming tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful evening, folks. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.